Looks like we are on YouTube, my friends. Yeah.
All right, let's call to order this workshop meeting of the Village Board of Trustees on August 21st. It's a little after 6:30. Sorry, we're a few minutes late. We have a number of people here, more than our typical workshop generates. I just want to make sure everybody understands our 6:30 meeting. Our purpose of this workshop is to get a short presentation on the NIAC New York Forward grant as it pertains to the public projects. That the grant process consists of three types of projects. There are the public projects that are put forth by the village. There's the nonprofit projects put forth by nonprofit entities, and there's the private projects put forth by private businesses and building owners and things like that. The submission of those projects is taking place on Monday. We will be having a meeting with the local planning committee here in this building. And in that meeting, we will start the process of reviewing the applications that have been submitted. We have received approximately 25.
I haven't seen it.
It's more than 25 different applications for approximately something like $30 million. We have $4 million, $4.5 million. So of course, we're always going to get more applications than we have money for. And the process of kind of making those decisions will start on Monday. Today, the process has really gone forward in a very public way, but we have not yet seen the projects themselves, like the discussion of our goals and the discussion of what we're trying to do has been very public. The process of submitting applications has been public. People have had opportunity to do that, but we have not had an opportunity to discuss the projects with the village board. And so what we want to do today was discuss the projects that are being proposed by the village. There are 6 of them. And we're going to talk about those 6. Andy's going to talk about those 6 today. Those 6 go into the mix like all the other projects, and the local planning committee will decide what the priority should be and what those priorities should be funded with. And that process again will start on Monday. Today, we're just letting the board know what the village is going to be putting forward, and if the board has any comments or questions or concerns or wants us to make any changes on them, we will be noted for the meeting on Monday. All right, with that said, Andy's take it away. You've got a presentation prepared to go over this with us.
Thank you, board, everybody, for coming out today. We're, as Joe mentioned, we've launched on a number of projects. The village's projects were described in our original application to the state.
Let's try again.
Sounds or phones. Our original application to the state had our village applications in it in sort of a earlier preliminary form. Right now, as Joe mentioned, we're partway through a planning process with the state consultants. There's a meeting Monday night of the local planning committee to start winnowing through projects and evaluating them. And these are the village projects that we have proposed in summary portion. This is our local planning committee members. We have one back here, Bill Batson, I think. Anybody else? Oh, and Tomas Schneck, of course. I'm not sure anybody else in the room. So there's 6 projects from the village: the waterfront, the former River Club site project, the Gateway Thruway Underpass project, our Main Street connection between Broadway to the waterfront project, the marketing and wayfinding project, the small project fund, and the planning process to rezone the commercial corridor, the Route 59 from McDonald's to Walgreens corridor there. On the waterfront, the idea is to get a restaurant down there, even better than before, with also adding park amenities, a public bathroom, and fix the bulkhead wall, which is falling down and compromising the site. There's approximate cost estimate there. Our cost estimates have been a dialogue with an engineering company that was hired by the New York Forward consultants, who have provided a lot of background research They have very, very conservative cost estimation with high contingencies for design and construction. And also escalation over the next couple of years of market changes.
Yeah, just let's highlight that point because we expect that these estimates on the costs are very high for the construction costs. What we expected would be. And in fact, we had this is down from the original plan is to put a little bit more of a indoor restaurant, which would have outdoor seating and whatnot, but would be more of an indoor restaurant now. You want to show the picture?
Sure.
And then go back and go. That's the inspiration for it. Was the original Shake Shack in Madison Square, which was the original Shake Shack didn't have any interior seating. It was a pure concession built into the park and built to be something that was integrated and part of the park and not like kind of glaring standing out. And it was very low impact and very low, relatively low cost to build. But they did something very special when they did it. And so we're kind of using it as an inspiration for this. And we said because the design. Oh,
This is the site now by the marina. Everybody's familiar with that. Some people here live right next to it. And this is a conceptual plan. You can see. Just to point things out. Obviously, this is the marina, the boat slips. The site is somewhat L-shaped. There would be structure over here on raised decking for high tide, stormwater, so on, with an awning over outdoor seating, and some more outdoor seating. Then a park-like setting here with landscaping and benches and sort of passive park.
On the yellow part is the building that would largely be the kitchen and the little on what is the west side of that building, a little white rectangle would be the ordering area where you go and you order. Then there would be seating in the blue area with outdoor awning seating in the shaded area just above blue and white blocks. And then around they see little white umbrellas that the idea of that would be outdoor seating along the patio that would be there, the idea was to maximize the amount of seating on the water and put the building in a place where you'd have view corridors to the water from the seating indoor. We did look at a plan that was a little cheaper, which didn't have any indoor seating, but we thought, you know what, the building has a lot more utility. If it's got some indoor seating, then it could be open year round as opposed to being open just in the summer, spring, and early fall. So it was only that, it was like not only, but it was $600,000 more, which was the difference between like $2.4 and $2.9 million or $2.3, $2.9 million. And it didn't seem like, there was a lot more usefulness out of the building. People rent from the concessionaire. And then the rest of it would be left as mostly green space for people to enjoy, whether or not they're at the restaurant. The restaurant would have its piece. The piece that would be the restaurant would be the awning, and then the raised platform seating that would be restaurant seating, but the rest of it would be open to the public who would go down to picnic, lunch or something like that. Yeah.
Is that the blue section? That would be
That'd be seating.
city for the
No, that's indoor. That's all. That's part of the building.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just separated so you can see the kitchen part and then the seating front. And then we should explain that the idea of this is that we're going to build the building and own it as a village. We're going to get a significant amount of money from the state to help us stake us for us. The rest of it we will bond for. Probably be about $1.5 million to $2 million in bond. And then it will be licensed out to a concessionaire. Somebody will have the concession to do it. We'll pay us rent. Over the course of 15 years, we will be paying off that note on it. And then over the long term, it will be an asset of the village that will generate revenue in the years to come. And it's going to be a really nice amenity for the waterfront. I think we go back to the bullet points so people can see. So the affordable concession style, the family-friendly low impact park amenities. And then the other piece of it is that we would turn a lot of the slips in the marina to transient slips because we want people to come visit Nyack from the water, which they don't really do right now because we don't provide them with a way to get here by boat. But if we left a number of the slips open for transient docking, meaning people taking their boats from Haverstraw and everywhere else people have boats, taking them here, docking them, either going to the restaurant or going up the hill or going into the park or doing whatever. I mean, if you've been out of the water, some of the places where people love to go and just, they'll get in the boat and they'll take the boat to some random place to go sit and eat, and they don't come tonight. But Nyack is really good, has really good waterfront amenity for the other, the comparison points like Haverstraw and Newburgh and places like that. Like Nyack would be a very popular destination. Also nice, but very few of them have like what we have, which is a big park and a waterfront restaurant and the ability to walk into town. Like, some of those places really don't have access to that. Big question for Charlie.
You said it's 600,000 to include indoor seating?
It was $600,000 more
More
than.
than that, right?
No, this includes it. It
Oh,
was,
okay.
it was less. It was 3.3 million to, and again, I think that these estimates are high because when you think about we're building a 2,000 square foot building, I could build 2,000 square foot building shouldn't cost us $4 million. Really shouldn't. That's even repairing the bulkhead, which is 400 grand, it should not cost us that much. I mean, I'm sorry, hijacked you.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Where is that plant in front of the public bathrooms? Is that part of the?
It's in the part that it would be built in, we don't have a design yet for the build, but it would be probably the yellow part, that would be the access to the public bathroom.
Okay.
The access would be from the outside.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be inside the restaurant, it'd be outside. Sure.
So how does this balance the concerns of the neighbors of that area, noise and a lot of traffic and
There's some neighbors here.
it might be less?
Ask them.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm wondering, like, will it be less, will it exacerbate the issue?
It,
I know at one point folks were asking to put barriers in the parking lot, how does that work? Incorporating with some of this,
the,
someone.
I guess, it's kind of.
I think
As long as you're asking, Joe. So, two questions. Are there good, what are the set hours expected to be?
It'd be open restaurant hours. I don't expect it to be a late night type place. But I don't know if we figured that out. That might be something that would be negotiated as part of the life.
And what about a liquor license?
We would want it to have a liquor license. It's worth a lot more from a lease perspective in terms of, or a license perspective versus paying us off. And also it's nice to go get a drink down by the water. Like that's a thing that people do. To go to Pascal's point, first of all, there was a restaurant there with a much bigger and more aggressive bar scene for many years. It just hasn't been there for the last 10 or 12 or something now. So it was a space that did have that. I do think that just personally, it would drive out a lot of the activity that we see. Like a lot of the activity that takes place on the waterfront, which is negative activity, takes place because it's empty down there and there's nobody there. If there's an actual restaurant there with people eating and there's people parked there, it kind of makes that, plus there's now somebody running a business there who, if they see somebody setting up and, trying to do drag racing or doing some illegal activity, they're gonna call the cops and they'll have somebody down there. They're on site to patrol it. And they'll have their own security and stuff like that. So probably somebody to.
So when you live there during River Club, right? The restaurant was there?
Oh, yeah.
And
I've
how
been
did
there
you
30
find
years.
it? And how did you find it?
Right outside her front door.
We only wish they delivered.
Yeah.
No, delivered that. Honestly, the only time it was really loud was when they had Sunday afternoon or whatever.
The music.
DJs.
Yeah,
And it was an afternoon, so
okay,
nobody really complained.
right, that's what I thought.
I lived there too.
Yeah.
I lived there for 5 years. It was like.
Oh.
Yeah,
This is
well,
less to, there's nothing to hang out.
Right, yeah, because I'm like, I'm assuming that's what would happen, I just want to be cognizant of
Yeah.
concerns that.
That was one of the reasons why we went against the idea of having a full-fledged restaurant.
Right,
Because not only was it much more expensive, but a full-fledged restaurant would be much more impactful on the community
yeah,
than a concession kiosk without, tables, without like a real table service. Yeah, Carol.
Hi, so it's, when you think it's gonna be less than 1.9, it's still high price tag, and I've seen some of the things that are in the plans, I guess, for the community stuff, and I did find the waterfront, which is gorgeous, it's lovely, and I'm all for it. How is opening a restaurant on the waterfront and how the restaurants that already exist and are not making ends meet? Like, restaurants are struggling, so how is opening this restaurant?
Well, this restaurant's, I mean, this is very different, I mean, it's a very different focus, this restaurant in terms of the other restaurants that have opened. But here's the thing,
Do you?
if you build,
Track?
well, listen, according, under that theory, everybody, like, Tyrone would be better off if everybody else went out of business, and you would not be. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when we saw, I own Morris Kitchen. Okay, sorry. I've been, my belief is always that we need more stuff in Nyack, so. Yeah, I mean, right now you have a lot of restaurants, but this is a totally different, that's a different amenity now, so it's not, this is not only a restaurant. Yeah,
Get us from different clouds.
yeah. I think it's bringing more, especially with the slips, that's what happened in, Haverstraw and, Don't Compete. I looked at the space too, it's like, the same thing, the town owned it, that flooded, they fixed it, and then now it's super violent, it's on the market.
I agree with like the slips and beautifying the park and bringing the people in. But I certainly think we have enough attractions and I mean,
You know, well, we have no attractions on the water. We have a park and then we have a parking lot. And we have things that. Here's the thing, it's really tough, it's a tough dynamic about how to explain this, but like. If you go to East Sixth Street in the East Village in Manhattan, there are 25 Indian restaurants on that block. Yeah, literally, if you walk, have you been there? There's like 25 Indian restaurants all along the block.
but yeah.
And it's like, how can all these restaurants survive? It's because everyone who wants to have experience of like, if they go down, like it becomes a magnet to bring people down. The more, I mean, Morris is better off with good restaurants opening up in downtown. You know, the locals better off, that's his restaurant are better off with more people in downtown. And we also very deliberately went for something that would be, it's gonna be largely seasonal, do a lot more business in the summer than it will in the fall and winter, because it won't have the outdoor seating won't be an appeal. But it will bring people to the village, and anything that brings people to the village, I think is good for them. Generally rises all those, so. Yeah, we have to move on to the other ones, but go ahead.
Hi, I'm Paul. Your question made me think of this question, but is it like exclusive to like a corporate kind of restaurant? I mean, so like someone with a local restaurant could apply to.
We would do it through a request for proposal, so it'd be open for, we don't have any concessionaire right now.
Okay. And there's no like preference between something like a Shake Shack versus like.
Oh, when I said the Shake Shack, the original Shake Shack was not a franchise. When I say the inspiration was Shake Shack was a one-off restaurant that sold, literally, if you go just Google like the original Shake Shack, it sold hamburgers, hot dogs, and milkshakes and drinks, and that was it.
Fair point.
They then took the Shake Shack concept, which was so successful, and they built it into a national franchise, but they're so the franchise operations are very different. We would not want a franchise guy. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We would want some, I mean, if we could get a local restaurateur to do it, that'd be fantastic. But we want some, we do want, we're gonna be looking for some sort of interesting concept. We want to put something that's kind of different and good down there. We don't want it to be, we don't want it to be some, like, we want it to be like, think like a really good food truck. Like a really good food truck, but it's stationary. Would be the idea. Like they want to go because they have interesting tastes, interesting things. All right, let's go next one. We have other projects where we're all really interested.
Okay, project number 2. This is the Thruway underpass, which everybody knows is gloomy and foreboding. Kind of a bummer of a thing to drive under when you're coming into Nyack. There's a number of bits that could be improved to make that nicer. There's no pedestrian lighting right there at all. So it's dark, very dark at night. The sidewalks under the underpass and in the vicinity are in poor condition or non-existent. The landscaping along those sidewalks, there's the shade trees, the bus shelters, are, nowhere near what they could be. And there's some sort of pedestrian safety type improvements. Create a more welcoming, more attractive gateway to Nyack is basically the idea here. And pretty much standard fare for dressing up a major entrance. I think when you put all the pieces together, it would be a very, very different experience to come into Nyack under that underpass. Two, there's also a lot of people who live around there. We got apartment buildings on High Avenue, we got Waldron. We got the supermarket, 3 hotels, and hopefully in the future there'll be more pedestrian activity. And so we need to kind of work our way up that corridor, doing streetscape improvements, making it more representative of who we are than kind of a bummer of a short drive there. So a lot of pushback from the State Department of Transportation on any kind of decorative or artistic effort. They have basically zero history of permitting that. And although we'll push for kind of designer lighting or elements that will be maybe a little more interesting than your typical application, but we don't have much optimism that we'll get anything that a traffic engineer could possibly see as distracting to a motorist, which is their criteria. Unlike other states and cities around the country and the world, which have experimented with multicolored lights and murals, things like that, our state doesn't have any of those projects behind it yet. So there's sort of hopefully a learning process. We'll push it a little bit, but we're not optimistic about having like a really, like our project that really pops in.
That makes sense, because the one connecting to the bridge pass.
Yeah.
The bikes.
That was like inspiration, I think, for a lot of
That was
those.
the idea.
And you see that, and that's a throughway, it was a governor's project, it's not the state DOT. And it's for pedestrians and bicyclists, not for drivers, so there's a lot of.
Okay.
No work, and do we know if DOT is planning on doing any like structural work to the overpass anytime soon?
They're definitely engaged in repairs.
Mhm.
I don't know the status of their ultimate. I do know that there's ceiling work and some concrete work going on. And I do want to say that I want to use this board's influence and others to try to get the thruway and the DOT to take parts of this project and own them instead of us having to pay for them. Because they're parts that really should be a part of routine maintenance and improvement that we'd like to see happen, that we shouldn't have to pay for.
Commission will be okay to do anything then?
Yes.
Yes.
And the throughway as well. The throughway owns the structure, the DOT owns the road. And they have to kind of come together.
And they will, they normally do.
And
They do
Kilby,
stuff at the same time.
yeah, Kilby, we did apply for the super engineer,
For sidewalks.
sidewalks, but also, didn't they apply for the crosswalks as well?
It might fit in that project. I'm not sure how far that funding's gonna go.
Well, that's only if we use for them. Which is similar to this.
Yeah, Central.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed anyway, but we hope to have a sidewalk connecting up to.
I mean, it would be, we want to make it walkable. It's walkable, but really gross right now. Like, it's really not nice at all. You need that landscaping that keeps the runoff from the dirt beds that are on each side of the road. And when it rains, it just mud comes down and covers the sidewalks. It's about as unappetizing a village entrance. You know, that was like, I mean, I always laugh, it's like, welcome to Nyack, and then it's an underpass with like a dirty sidewalk.
You expect zombies to jump out at you.
It's also safety issue, so.
Yeah.
It's a push it right.
Yeah,
But we would love to do something creative with the lighting. We'll keep pushing for it. Creative lighting or creative with a mural or paint colors, just to brighten it up. We'd love for it to, we looked at a lot of pictures of like European bridges that have been done that way, and they're so amazing. The problem is that there's a lot of resistance from the state, and I mean, to some extent, it makes sense that you don't want people driving, because like, oh, look at that, what's over there? You know, they're supposed to be driving, but lighting would be good. Lighting itself.
project number 3. Sorry. Oh, that's coming in around $1 million.
About 900, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And again, that
Yeah.
includes pretty significant pieces that really the thruway or the DOT should own. I'd probably say about $300,000 worth of work that they should do. Main Street from Broadway down, the sidewalks are in terrible shape and they're narrow in places. This project would we shrink the travel lane a little bit where you can make a wider sidewalk. Add the traditional lamp posts, lighting. Street trees for shade. And these kind of bronze medallions inset in the sidewalk with artworks on them to kind of add interest to people as they walk. It would help to connect the business district down to the waterfront, make it more walkable. And that's pretty straightforward streetscaping project with a little extra art thrown in.
And where are the sidewalks wide enough to put sculptures?
The medallions are about the size of a manhole cover, so any sidewalk will be wide enough for those. So when we build new sidewalks, we can think about insetting these sort of metal sculptures.
I think that's one of the problems with this project is the teasing distance with all the traffic. I think, with the G files, the big, it's a section. It looks like not that big, but you know.
Yeah.
And it's fully fit.
Yeah,
And that I think is key to the differentiation.
yeah. When and if that happens, it'll transform the foot of Main Street, and the sidewalk project will be much more likely to get a lot of pedestrian activity for sure.
If you still have the holding, the teasing vista holding up in ground. And obviously, I'm thinking it's not three blocks. I mean, it has to be,
Yeah, no, that's a different, yes, you're 100%. 100%, but hopefully. When the project gets going, this will then, they would do a lot of work down at the bottom of the hill. To then integrate with what we're doing, middle, top. But the idea is just to make Main Street extend down, it really does feel like Main Street ends at Broadway, and then below Broadway, Main Street becomes very much of a utilitarian roadway. There's no more showing to it as you go down, so the idea would be to add some showing.
also 65 on Main.
That's the other side of the street. Yeah, we're only talking about the sidewalks would be on the side of the street because that's where, I think that.
Both.
No, yeah, both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, both of it.
So, but we'd have the lampposts with the decorative features, which create a lot of interest as people walk on the sidewalk. And things like that. Sorry. Go ahead, Darren.
I know there's a lot of things with this for the waterfront there, and it's great, but we have existing in South Harbor, right? It's a Soco area. I mean, we're still missing lampposts there from the original plan, but including that to connect Main Street to South Harbor, or until we have it. I know it's tough because of the 2 blocks of that space, but we have the same continue down there, right? Yeah.
I agree with you. We should have them over there too, for sure.
It's a good suggestion.
Marketing and wayfinding is a combination of elements. The marketing part is really about reviewing the village's branding, from logos to sort of stories that we tell about ourselves, and planning around how to project that image to the market of visitors coming to the village. Nyack has a lot going on in that space. You've got Visit Nyack, you've got Tomasz Schneck here and others who've worked hard on that. The analysis of the data we can gather in terms of who's coming to Nyack and that sort of thing goes into it. And then designing actual signs that will be in the ground that would help people find parking, find amenities, know kind of which way to turn to get where they want to go, and help them to get to the different parts of the business district. It all flows together with hiring consultants who specialize in these matters, creating the designs, putting out the RFPs and contracts for the work, and installing the new signs essentially. I don't think I have pictures for that. I do it. Yeah, I should. And this is just, these are generic kind of families of signs that you see used. And so variations on directional wayfinding type signs and smaller. And also we have a couple of ideas for projects like historical interpretation signs, like you've seen the one by the community garden about the history of the railroad, by the Toni Morrison bench by the side of the road project with the history of that site. And others could be added to give people more interesting kind of learning opportunities as they move around the village. That's wayfinding marketing project in a nutshell.
Yeah, this was something that was a very big part of, we've been getting requests for this, particularly from the shopping areas of Nyack that are not in Main and Broadway. Because the people down in Sobro, they want people who are on Main and Broadway to know that there's something, if you walk down that way, because there's a bit of a dead spot between when you get to Bird Street on Broadway, and then from Bird all the way to Hudson, there isn't a lot of retail. There's some, and the new Indian restaurant's opening there from where the Brick House was, and the Angels there now on that corner to start with. But you have a lot of places that aren't like open for retail. You have a bank, you have some real estate companies, you have a big housing development there. You got the YMCA, you got the post office, you've got the library. And so we want people to know, hey, if you just walk, it's a wonderful walk down there, and then down there, there's a wonderful restaurant and there's some good shops and things like that. And the same thing for Franklin Street, that people don't know that Franklin Street has some retail that could really use a boost. People on Broadway, when people are on Main and Franklin and Main for you. So we want to do, we're not sure what form it's going to take. There's a lot of different versions here, but the idea is to let people know where they are and where they can get to other places with this industry stuff.
And I will say, there's not one state-funded downtown revitalization program like this that doesn't have a marketing and wayfinding project in it. It's pretty much bread and butter for economic development. And they're expecting us to make this application. I think we can do some really cool things with it though. The small project fund, the idea here is for projects that are worth $75,000 or less to have a separate grant process where they can apply. Once this project is proposed and funded by the state of New York, hopefully we'll find that out early next year. We'll roll out an application process for things like facades, awnings, kitchen upgrade, upstairs apartments, improvements, things like that, that would help kind of improve the attractiveness of the downtown and help businesses meet their business growth needs. Those are the kinds of projects. Pretty soon, we're going to roll out just a letters of interest. So to the local property owners, so they can give us a sense of what they would apply for. So we can put that package together and make a persuasive case to the state that we have a portfolio of good projects possibly to fund if we get the money. So that project hopefully will be funded for about $300,000. There'll be a 25% match for each applicant. And a third party would do some of the administrative work to kind of help applicants through a process. And state grants are always kind of a pain. You gotta show your
Does that 367 include the 25%?
yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then minus $30,000 for the consultant. So this state grant typically builds in a 10% administrative cost for the consultant. So yeah.
I'm sorry, no, finish your sentence.
Yeah, I was
just, I'm looking at that, and what kitchen improvements,
so like if you were running a restaurant and you needed to add capacity to your kitchen, you could make an application under the small project fund. It's for capital projects. You can't buy tables and chairs that you can put in a truck and take to New Jersey, but you could do kitchen, you could do fire suppression, you could do awning, you could do windows, facade, doorway, different things like that.
and the apartment improvements, is that for?
If you owned a building and you had upstairs apartments and they were in bad condition, or you wanted to convert an office to an apartment, something like that.
With all of those kinds of applications, and there are some applications for the forward that are more substantial. This is really for these are for grants that don't meet the $75,000 threshold that you need to meet in order to get something from the main grant. This is set aside for smaller, under $75,000 things. But in both cases, you've got stuff which, as a building owner wants to improve something on the building, and it might be a really worthy project, and it might be something that the committee, or in the latter case would be the committee more improvement. But yeah, so we're hitting on the fact that, why this apartment building is supposed to have an apartment building, why this kitchen has, there's a lot of kitchens that's not.
Right, so just kind of understand that way.
It is something that you have to kind of balance it with all the other projects that are.
So if we get sorry.
Are those kinds of applications also through the prism of economic development? I mean, are those
Yes.
viewed that way? And is the process that each individual business then has to put the money out and then it gets reimbursed? Or is it, there's that fund that exists that
They're reimbursement grants.
they're reimbursed, but it's also reimbursed by New York Forward or by?
They'll be, I think the contract for this grant, if it's awarded, will be with Housing and Community Renewal. And they've done these kind of projects in basically all the DRI communities. And so the village board would appoint a committee to work with myself and the consultant that we would hire to establish specific eligibility criteria, invite applications, review applications, fund applications, and then square them away.
There's the lighting walkabout that we did just a couple of weeks ago. Does that factor into this particular fund or is that somewhere else?
So a property owner could make a proposal for building improvements that included lighting, for sure. The applicant would be the owner of a building or the owner of a business in a building with the cooperation of the building owner. It's not a project where it would have like multiple sites. At least that's not the way they think about it.
I
Maybe,
mean, does it make sense to narrow the focus a little bit and say like, let's use this to try to get better lighting in the village, but by,
yeah,
or you know, more front facing, or that the improvements should be something that's more sort of.
yeah. So I think that the local planning committee could, if they include this project in our strategic investment plan, they could provide guidance as to how to prioritize eligible candidates towards the kinds of things that you're probably thinking about, these highly visible improvements.
Well, I'm just trying to see like how you can get a bigger bang for the buck than someone's kitchen.
Yeah, it's in the back room, nobody sees
It's
it.
a bullet point to use.
I know, but maybe it's something where it gets winnowed down to a certain thing so that it has really got economic development impact, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, we should do all facade projects because they're highly visible, they improve the look of the street. And it helps everybody, you know. That's what you're saying.
No, six.
The sixth one, this is a planning process. It's unusual. All of the projects in this program are capital projects where something's actually built that creates economic growth. They do allow planning costs for certain kinds of things. This is an eligible project. It's essentially looking at the Route 59 corridor. In our zoning, it's called corridor commercial, which seems a little backwards to me. It's really a commercial corridor. But in any case, it's a zone which is organized to produce what we have up there.
It's 259.
From McDonald's to Walgreens, basically, with some bulging out on High Avenue to capture the hotels. The zone has a very kind of retrograde streetscape. It's missing a lot of sidewalks. It's got a ton of driveways, which are hazardous to get in and out of. The land use is very, what's the opposite of dense? Low density, lots of pavement, single story buildings. There's no housing. So
Consistent architecturally.
so the idea is to investigate whether and how rezoning to a mixed use that can include retail and housing might work in that zone to create a different, higher value kind of development for the village. With more walkable streetscape, access to retail services for people who live in the vicinity, adding residents to the village, coming off the throughway, seeing something, the Chase Bank building and McDonald's look nice, but then you drive past a bunch of stuff that's pretty much dilapidated until you get down to where our new Taco Bell is gonna be. So there's definitely some zoning room for improvement there, and this project would basically pay for that.
So that's approximately every deal to the undertake a Route 15 commercial study in general. Even if they take off, like in the stage one, you'll be traffic safety, that sort of thing.
I have no idea, but I'm very interested in finding out the answer to that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, one, talk to Harold, two, they do it all the time. I'm currently under at least 2 studies over in Westchester, so they can do it.
So maybe they contribute part of the planning study. Yeah.
They may not do like in terms of, land use and commercial residential, but they'll at least talk about the safety, sidewalks, new lighting, traffic patterns.
Right, traffic side.
That's what they'll probably do.
Think some kind of partnership makes sense because they own that road.
Yeah. And they probably have to weigh in on something like this anyway, so let's get them to.
And we'll say, if you look at. Trying to find it, like this part right over here. This is Clarkstown. And it's off of Toto Court. And Clarkstown is looking at its own zoning right now. And the hope is that their work in the coming year could be aligned with our work to produce a kind of well-aligned zoning system. And maybe their plans for their.
Isn't that most development, going down, Waldron?
Yeah, this is 59, this is Waldron coming up. This is Toto Court, this is in Clarkstown here. These two buildings are in Nyack here, the two apartment buildings and the hotels in Nyack.
Oh,
But this whole green spot, this is sort of a single family residential area. Also,
is that the Clarkstown?
it's all Clarkstown, yeah.
Is it Nyack Clarkstown or Clarkstown in the Shoreline?
It's unincorporated, it's outside of our,
And Central, is Central Valley?
right, it's in the Hamlet, such a thing.
Was the all.
Yeah, I'll show you where it is on the map. So they've got some work to do too, and they've evinced interest in cooperating. This is the area we we're just talking about here. Right there.
Oh,
So the hotel is here, the bank is there, McDonald's, the gas station are here. That's those two apartment buildings over here. With the driveway on the upper Depew. And this is Clarkstown. So if they would rezone that in a way that aligns with a planning process in the village, you might end up with developments that would have a broader impact. So,
I'm disappointed.
Did you cameras over there?
What's that?
Do you cameras over there?
You got signatures over there,
Yeah, so Walter,
The idea is that, I mean, basically you get off the throughway and it's just you get off the throughway, you get on Route 59. It feels like you're in, Route 59 is kind of the whole way up to Suffolk. Route 59 has a lot of dead spots and it feels like it's kind of a dead spot. And then it gets worse when you go into the underpass, that there's potential to maybe do something. So we're trying to get the state to pay for a little bit of money that's gonna cost to start that process. Just to save us the money of having to look at it. Nothing else. All right, anything else? Is it the last one?
that's it.
All right, we have a few minutes, so we'll take any other questions on the process of the projects that you might get to overwhelm.
What other than some private?
There are private and nonprofit projects, but we're just talking today about the public. So
Okay.
those will be revealed on Monday. The entire list.
That's at 5:30 on Sunday.
Yes.
5:30. And it will then be available, the PowerPoint presentation, which will have all the different projects in, will be available online. So people will all be listed.
That's not just talking here. That's not the public on that.
That's open to the public on Monday, yes, sorry. And just, I had it before, I'll tell you the exact number.
Well, is that meeting rules? Or is that, are we limited? Is it? Or not?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, you can call for it.
you know about,
Yeah, you just can't discuss village business.
yeah.
By the way, Joe, when I stepped over these news to Union Street, my own New York. And they received the New York, so where I was there, and looking, if I look at the other was, very similar process. It's not a grand news, Very straightforward, then it's straightforward. Wayfinding was an overall base on the, it's not, wayfinding is always fine.
Just that we've thrown it out before, but we're kind of guessing at it. I just went to look up in the spreadsheet. There are 24 projects, individual projects. Of that, there are 6 public that we've talked about. There are 10 nonprofit, and there are 5 I guess, yeah, 5 private projects. And the total amount that's looking for is the request, the forward request is 4 plus 6, 10, about $13 million, which we have to cut by about half. So it's not, the total project cost is much higher, but the amount that they're asking for from New York Forward is only a portion of what it would cost for the projects. But we're talking about 25 to $30 million of capital improvements. Yeah.
How much was this sold for that forward?
Now, the total public projects for the New York would be $4 million. Including the small project fund. So that's obviously gonna get cut back because we only have 4.5. But we gotta put in to the state. The state makes the final decision.
Right.
And so we're probably gonna put in about $6 to $8 million of projects and let the state makes the ultimate decision. So you put in what you put in and then the state makes the call. Who's got other questions? Yes.
Reinvigorate the mural project, would that be under that 75 year?
There is one of the nonprofit projects is a Hudson Valley Mural Arts project. There's also a project that involves a mural
Okay, so there's 2 under the
There's-
non, and those will be reviewed on Monday.
on Monday, yeah. Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the dollar numbers in the presentation that Andy just gave us. There was a large estimate and then there was the village portion. I didn't.
the large portion is the amount of the total of the amount that's being requested from the state. And then of the amount that's being requested from the state, there's a 10% match that we put in from the village. We could set it whatever we wanted to. We don't have to have a match, but we chose to put a match in to put the village have some skin in the game in terms of doing it. So it's a total would be about $450,000 for the village to match the $4.5 million that or I guess it's more than that. It's about 6 million, so it's about 600,000 that we're asking for. 600,000 that the village will be putting in to $6 million of projects.
Plus the restaurant is.
Plus the restaurant would cost us more because all those projects, pretty much the entire cost, other than the match, was being covered by the state, except for the restaurant where the state is only going to cover. I mean, we're asking the state to cover 1.25 million, but the total project is more like 3.5 to 3.9. So the difference is going to have to be bonded.
The numbers that were shown for the projects that we just saw add up to at least as much, roughly, or more than 4.5.
Yes, we just said, yeah, it's about 6. It's about. I'm sorry, it's about 4 million. I said 6. I was looking at the wrong spreadsheet. It's about 4. It's about $4 million, and we would put in about 400,000. So it'd be 3.6, right? You subtract the 400
Taking the restaurant
out. No, if it's $4 million of forward requests. And we have a match, does the match, does it mean the 4 million is 4.4 or does it mean the 4 million is 3.6?
So, I mean, I'm not
You
sure.
understand my question? Does the match come out, does the match reduce the amount that we're asking from New York Forward?
Yeah.
It does, so it'd be 3.6, the total would be 4. We put in 4 and the rest request would be 3.6. Total grant is 4.5, so obviously, we don't know what's gonna happen with these projects, because it has to get reviewed by the local planning committee over several meetings over the next couple months, all of which are public. The first one's on Monday. And then after that, the LPC is going to propose between 6 and 8 million for the 4.5 that's available. That 6 to 8 million is gonna go up to the state, and the state makes the final decision about what to fund, and they're gonna fund up to 4.5 million. So even if it gets approved by the LPC, there's no guarantee that's gonna get approved by the state.
Well, my final point is that given the amount of money that the public projects add up to, I'm wondering how much is left over for the nonprofit and the private project.
And yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that they make up about the amount that we have put in for. If the LPC agreed to give 100% of the public project request, that would be 50% of what the LPC can approve and send up to the state. The LPC is going to approve up to $8 million to go up to the state. The state will then cut it back to 4.5 million. So yes, what we propose is a lot of public projects, but we expect that to, I expect it will at some point get whittled down by the LPC, and then who knows what the state will do.
Thank you.
We are gonna have, there is a lot of very worthy private projects that I think the LPC is gonna wanna be able to fund, yeah.
2 buckets of public, private, and profit. Did the park extension project go?
Park extension wasn't part of this.
Okay.
The park project, completely different grants, about $500,000 grant from a different source, doesn't have anything to do with this. We'll be talking about that tonight. We have a conversation about that tonight? Yeah, we have a conversation tonight about what she's referring to is that there's a different grant and there was a different committee that dealt with that, but that's in the final stages. That is a grant for creating it's shoreline revitalization of Memorial Park. Memorial Park is not part of any of the New York Forward. New York Forward specifically exempted the waterfront park from its coverage, and the waterfront park is covered by this other grant. And there's some really nice plans to do some really nice things with trees and grasses and terraces along the waterfront to make the waterfront a lot nicer than it is now.
So one thing I just want to add that I don't know where it falls into those buckets and those grants, but something I've seen really successfully in other shoreline communities is having the village owned like pavilions that are available to the public, but they're available to rent at a low cost. That kind of opens it up to the public to, host as a venue and have as an event in a very beautiful and communal part of their own town. And it opens up long-term funds for the town, but doesn't require ownership in the sense like a concession stand would. I don't know where that falls in.
I don't know where we have space for something. We do allow people to use the gazebo, we don't charge for it. People get married there and stuff like that, and we haven't traditionally charged for it. That could change. That could be something like what you're talking about. But yeah, I think it would be if we can find. We don't have that big of a park, so it's tough to find other places to put something that, a pavilion or something like that in it without crowding the rest of the space. That's there, but thank you, it's a good suggestion. Yes, Susan.
There was an idea a couple of months now, I guess, back, that was with a little hopper frame that was taking people around.
Not part of this,
It's not part, but could like a charging station for something like that be part of?
It might be part of the wayfinding. We actually have charging, what she's referring to. Just to give everybody so they have an understanding. We've had the idea of creating a small electric shuttle service, 6-person shuttle that would take people from the waterfront up into kind of the downtown area and even take people up to the hotels as well as to Waldron Terrace on like a big loop. And it's what's called the GEM shuttle. If you want to look it up, GEM shuttle, GEM. 6 people, including the driver, all electric, very lightweight, relatively inexpensive. We do have the charging infrastructure for that, so we wouldn't. But we could, as part of the wayfinding, if we did buy the shuttle and we started the shuttle program, there would be time within this that as we get the funds for the wayfinding. It'll be okay, we have the funds, we now have to figure out what to do with it, and we'll get a consultant to do that. And it's theoretically possible. One of the wayfinding things that could get put in would be something that would also act as a bus stop, a shuttle stop. But that's different. And we're actually looking to try to get funding to buy the shuttle, which is like 50,000. So it's not a huge amount, but we'd like to try to see if we can get money from somebody else to pay for it. Anybody else have questions? Because we have to start the regular meeting. If you have a question or comment, you can make it as part of public comment, which will be starting the meeting in a second. Are we all ready?
Yeah, you're online.
Start the formal meeting. Oh, get the signing sheet, okay. If you do wanna make, if you wanna make public comments, just raise your hand, we'll have you come up, we'll just do that, so rather than, I don't think there's gonna be there's not a hugely controversial thing on this schedule.
Never say no.
Never say never, don't put the kibosh on it, the Katahara. All right, are we all good? Are we all good?
And it's, can we turn the air conditioning off? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, we don't really.
Kicks on. Everybody.
And then we'll just sort of like, hey. I'm gonna lay her down. I lay her down and it gets so hot. Signing. Yeah, where's your gavel?
I left it in my house. Oh my God, I was late getting here.
My lunch food.
Ridiculous.
All right, are we good? All right, welcome everybody to this meeting of the Niagara Village Board. This is our official meeting. It's August 21st, 2025. It's a little after 7:30, which is our start time. Could you please join me in standing for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all for being here. Thank those of you who were here for the earlier workshop that we had on the New York Forward project and an update on the public projects that are part of that process. Couple of quick notes I want to make to start the meeting. We have a relatively straightforward agenda today. We have no public hearings, so there's no legislation being considered today in any significant way. We have a number of approvals that we have to make for the sale of surplus vehicles and the acquisition of some new vehicles, all part of the process that we've been going through for many months of trying to update some of the equipment that we use at DPW. And we're going to be getting a presentation on our debt schedule from our village treasurer. Yeah, we'll get the titles of everybody. A couple of quick notes before we get started. One, we had a departure today of Ryan Bates, who had worked in the court office, who was a wonderful member of our staff, and he moved on to a new opportunity, and we're very grateful for the work he did, and we wish him luck going forward. I wanted to offer my congratulations to the Parks Conservancy, Mark Mangan, all the bands. We concluded a really good season of music in the park, which was hampered in July by bad weather. Every Tuesday night it seemed to rain, but they persevered through. They added some dates at the other end, and it was a very successful project. Congratulations to Chamber of Commerce, who ran their exotic car night. Last week I heard it was really successful. Rivertown Film had an outdoor film down at the park, right? That was the Lego movie, and I heard it was very successful. I also want to announce a couple of events coming up. We have the African American Day Parade is this Saturday, along with the Back to School program that's being combined. They're usually separate events, but the African American Day Parade was rained out twice on 2 consecutive Saturdays back when we had that run of weekend rain. So that's this Saturday. We also have a street fair coming up on Sunday, September 7th. That'll be before our next meeting, so I want to make sure I mentioned it. Good luck to the chamber on that one. And also on Sunday, September 7th, not only is there a street fair, but after the street fair at 6 p.m., there is something called the Flotsam Barge Circus, which will be performing offshore by the Memorial Park, right? Memorial Park. It'll be offshore. It's free. They do a circus from a barge. It's supposed to be really neat. And it's worth putting down your calendar and going and checking out to make sure that you're part of it, because it will be, I think, a significant amount of fun. So I want to put that in as well. And then also mention that we are putting the final touches on the editorial draft of the fall events guide that the village puts out. We started it with the summer events guide back in June. We have more events than I could possibly imagine coming up in the fall that we're collating and organizing for distribution as part of a 4-page piece that will be available in restaurants and shops in town. You can also download it yourself online. And it looks like we're gonna have like 100 events in the guide. It's gonna be, there's a lot because we have all the The Phoenix Festival starts in late September. That's got a ton of, I mean, about a dozen different programs that they're putting on. Hopper House is very busy this fall. The Angel has a million things going on this fall. It's a relatively busy season, and there's we have a whole series of events related to Halloween. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, with that said, any comments, anything that anybody from the board wants to add?
Yeah, and I'd like to ask what an update, what's happening with the, I would say the Plaza Fire. The Plaza Fire, victims, the people who were displaced, what's the situation, have they been, people have been,
You've been involved in that.
Okay, you can finish.
no, I just wanna know, if we found suitable housing for people. I know that the village dipped into its, funds to pay for hotels. So I just wanna know what, just the status, to make sure that everybody's being taken care of.
What, you wanna,
Why don't we take that up? Because it's a relatively, I think,
Because we do have
it's a bit of an
to
in-depth
share.
discussion, and we have a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah.
We'll have that conversation under either old or new business. We'll talk
Okay.
about
yeah,
that.
okay,
It's worthwhile, but.
there's a lot going on.
There's
There's a lot, and I can help
And
with.
it's not
some of
the
it.
easiest discussion
Sure.
to have right up top.
Right.
And I don't wanna there's people who I don't wanna hold them up.
Okay.
But thank you for bringing that up, because it was something I wanted to talk about, and I know that Donna wants to talk about, she's been involved in this now. Anybody else? Anything else they want to add at this point, just comments?
Sure,
Sure.
I walked in Sunday, there's obviously something really fun, kind of creative that's happening on the front lawn of the Angel Nine. And, Savannah and Steve, and I thought it was really cool to see it pop up. I'm sorry. It's probably not even on.
It's on.
Is it? Can you hear me?
No,
It's not on, Jen. No.
It's on now.
Hello? All right, there we go. So this past Sunday, I walked into town and on the front lawn of the Angel Nine, there's a really cute little pop-up that's happening. I kind of heard about it, but I didn't see it firsthand. So it's called Savannah and Steve. And oh my God, it's too late now. Sorry. And so it's a really fun, they had live jazz, it's a tea party, I guess, and it was just really cute. And I just love to see these type of events happening. So I wanted to say kudos, I guess, to the okay. Somebody.
They left.
Well, anywho, so I know they're running until September 6th. So it's every Sunday, so people are, in town are interested, you should probably stop by. It's really, really fun. It just looked like a very lovely event, and I thought it was a really nice touch to have something just low key, but really fun with live music and people just having a great time. So kudos to the founder who just decided to create this event out there.
Great, really great.
Yeah, they're doing wonderful things
Anybody
there.
else? We good? All right, we have an agenda. You can see it if you go online to nyack.gov and you go to the meeting session, you can pull it up. I do, at the meetings, take things a little bit out of order at the beginning, for people that are here for from the village who I'd like to get them in and out, as well as if there are people here for a specific request or something that won't take a tremendous amount of time. So we'll do that and then we'll get to public comment, but I wanted to bring up, Tom Lynch from the Water Department. He wants to talk for a few minutes with us. Hi, Tom.
Thank you.
Oh, is there a mic for him?
Straight on. Hello, push the button. Testing.
Yeah, it just worked, right?
Okay.
Okay.
You're a little louder though.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me here. I come to you today to discuss the need for mixers and aeration devices at our main reservoir on Dickinson Avenue. As you know, we've had several violations for the water quality. It is specifically in that zone along South Highland Avenue that we've been having a problem, and a lot of it has to do with stagnation and stratification of our reservoir along the South Highland Avenue corridor. The property owners along there are not consuming as much as we have seen in the past, like we had with Nyack College. That's a primary catalyst for that. We've made extensive corrective action
plans, and we've made numerous needed generational improvements. However, we are in a most recent violation, so it's indicating to us that this is the last measure. We tried to work from the outside in before we got to this point, and we're at that point right now. That being said, we did come up with a plan, and I stand before you to see if we can get some funding, a bond, I believe, in order to install some equipment that's known as a grid B. Now, what that is the contractor named D&N Tanks, and the manufacturer system is called Ixom Water Care. They provide a grid B trihalomethane removal system. The grid B system includes two grid B mixers, and I don't want to get too technical on it, but the two fans or ventilation F4 systems, two SN5 surface aerators, and all the accessories that would go to complete the system. The modification to our main reservoir, the load service reservoir, to install this system will all be done by D&N. Ixom is guaranteeing a system that is designed to achieve a 55 to 60% reduction of trihalomethane. And trihalomethane is what we are in violation. So that's a very big guarantee. If we were to achieve that, we would no longer be in violation, and moving forward generationally, we'll have the solution should anything happen again in the future. The cost breakdown to furnish and install this system is $550,000, and this is a budgeted estimate. We're awaiting some final revisions, just cost on equipment selection, insurance, prevailing wage, and some other issues, but the 550 seems very confident. The electrician, Robert's Electric, will furnish all labor, materials, and a complete electrical system upgrade at the LSR for a cost of $93,200. Now, I just want you to understand, when we say an upgrade, we still have up at our main reservoir glass fuses that you spin out. So we need Orange and Rockland to be a partner in this, and their cost is estimated at $100,000. And they have a very long lead time of several months before they finish their designs. This has been one thing that's been a hurdle. So we're trying to get some final discussions with that. We added a contingency expense of 10% to the account for unseen conditions. And in closing with that, the proposed total would come to a sum of $800,017,520. The caveat to all of this is that I come to you because we need an approval before September, otherwise there's a price increase. And I think we've done quite well in grinding down, sharpening pencils to get the price that we have. Considering what the alternative is, as you know, the health department keeps putting us in violation. That's only going to last for so long. And I do want to say, because everyone is here, it is a system-wide violation, although the targeted area that we're finding the violation is most specifically along the South Highland Avenue. So the system-wide notification is out of precaution. I don't want to alarm people, but we have to make sure that we do the right thing. So, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So we're talking about the Nye College area, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So is Orangetown, so the money that's in need to correct this issue or these issues, could we get any from Orangetown? I mean,
No.
because the way that's, or do we filter the water? Because I know that property is owned, right, by Orangetown.
It's in the town, it's in unincorporated part of the town of
Right.
Orangetown. But with the water department is the water department, like they're serviced by the water.
And so we're it.
Well, I mean, we're it, but really it's then you're coming to us, but this is a bond that would be taken up by the water department, right?
Right, the water district serves an area much larger than just the village of Nyack. It goes into Orangetown and Clarkstown. And the water fund is a separate fund within the village
Right.
budget. And the principal interest on this bond come out of the water fund, which is entirely funded by the price of water that you will pay per gallon or cubic foot, which is. But that's the basic financial structure of it.
So
But
basically
they
it's
can't
saying-
bond without the village board's authority.
I'm sorry?
Our board of water commissioners cannot issue debt. Only this board can do that. The debt is entirely paid for by the water fund, which is supported by the ratepayers. Which includes people in the village of Nyack and outside the village of Nyack, the mall, parts of West Nyack, Dosher, Hobie.
Okay, Andy, to that exact point, in the resolution. Section 2, this is what I don't understand.
Which resolution?
Second resolution.
I'm sorry, the resolution that we're gonna get to, 2025-150,
2020,
7.16.
7.16.
Page 7, section 2. Okay, the last paragraph, the second part of the paragraph.
Of section
You wanna
2.
read it? Yeah.
Yeah, the plan of finance includes the issuance of bonds in the principal amount not to exceed 25,000. Finance, yada, yada. And the levy and collection of taxes on all the taxable real property of the village to pay the principal of said bonds and interest thereon as the same shall become due and payable.
Yeah, I have to say
Why is it
that-
worded like that?
That is an odd wording, and I'd have to go back to our bond council to get an explanation for why they put it that way. It should be, it's based on ratepayers.
Yeah,
But you know what, I'm going out on a limb here because I'm not an expert in the sort of the legal language they use on these. The village is ultimately
Responsible.
the responsible.
guarantor.
So the village taxpayers are basically guaranteeing
right.
debt, which is intended to be entirely funded and will be funded by the water fund and ratepayers. But if for some reason the water fund defaulted on that, it would come back to the village property tax levy as the ultimate source of payment.
I think
I
there
think
should
that's what
be,
you're seeing here.
yeah, but I think there should be language clarifying that.
I think this language probably is clear from a lawyer's perspective anyway. Although when you're reading it, not sure where that feedback's coming from. But this is put together by bond council and they do this all the time for the water department, for the village's projects as well.
Yeah, I know, but it should be a clarification, some type of note. That we're the
Last resort.
exactly, the payer of last resort, the village.
Can we add something, words, I mean, I worry only that we'd be changing wording that was probably hammered out by bond counsel.
Yeah.
And that is very delicate.
Right.
But we can certainly say, we can state for the record that is the understanding of the board that we are only the payer of last resort when we get to that resolution. We can actually do the resolution now. We can do that, or since he's here.
When you look in section 4, doesn't that pretty much make that clarification to some degree?
What's that?
When you go down to section 4.
Section 4.
Section 4.
Am I wrong in thinking that?
It says
I
general
skimmed it,
obligations of
yeah.
the village table.
Yeah, we're pledging faith and credit. on this.
Yeah.
That's why they have to come to us.
Right.
Is that we're ultimately responsible because we're ultimately the owners of the water department.
Right. That's why I think section 4 sort of is that clarification you're looking for, Joe.
Well, it just sort of restates what he was concerned about, which is what
Mhm.
alarmed him. I mean, I think we can just have the sense of the board that we want to make sure it's clear that this is an obligation of the water department. Only if the water department was in default would the village become responsible for the debt that's going to be authorized by this resolution.
Yeah, that's simple enough. That's.
Okay, and that's in the, you got that in the record? Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any public comments or questions on this particular issue since we're now taking up the resolution 25-150, which is action item 7.16 in the agenda.
Actually, I did have a question, and maybe, I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's something that can be answered at this point. When was the last time that there was a discussion on rates for the water department?
So at the last meeting, there was a discussion, I have.
The mic,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. It's on and not working.
No one knows.
Are you connected?
You have to speak louder.
Then just speak louder. Speak as loud as you can.
Yeah, in last month's meeting, there was a discussion. I do have here the chairman of the Board of Water Commissioners. He may have better recall, but there definitely was a discussion. on
For a
the-
rate increase.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would, when you do a rate increase. And you send out a notification, right, to the consumers, correct?
I don't.
I'm not you personally.
Yeah, yes, but when it's
Yeah,
done.
that's not my wheelhouse. Yeah.
Whatever, but I think it should be noted.
Yeah.
That part of the rate increase is due to capital improvements in order to deal with the PFAS and the HDM.
I do want to just say that that's what the increase is. That's what's always part of an increase is capital improvements.
To explain what the capital improvements are for.
Right, no, I understand that, but sometimes when you get into those rate increases, it's not necessarily clear what the capital improvements are for. It's just the amount that people that are, that's gonna be attributed to the ratepayers.
Right.
I only say that because I'm in the middle of a rate case on this, so. Yeah,
Somebody's, it's just like.
He's suggesting that you do a little bit of marketing when you increase the rates,
Okay.
make sure they could.
I do a lot of
Message
shipping,
or-
I do a lot of shipping by UPS in my business. And they, whatever they charge me, the rates, then they have the fuel increase or the fuel surplus or whatever. They tack on that extra amount, so they explain what it is. Right?
I'll pass that along.
All right, anything else on, well, let's, we're gonna take up 7.16, resolution 25-150. Can I get that on the table?
motion.
Second.
All right, we've gotten the presentation from the water department on the issue. I think we understand the issue. We've stated for the record the sense of the board that the board and the taxpayers are only the guarantors of last resort in the event of a default by the water department, despite the language that might indicate the more direct involvement by the village in the payment of this debt. This is gonna be debt that's gonna be issued by the water fund, by the water district. Paid by the water district, out of, if they need to, by the fees that they charge the water customers or an increase in rates if necessary. Do we have any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, so cross that one off the list. I also want to bring up just, it's a little bit out of order. I know Tyrone Azevedo is here. Tyrone, can you come up? Because I know you want to talk about, you have something that you want to raise with us that's at the end of our. And I don't like to make people who have a quick communication to discuss to wait through the entire meeting to get there. This is a street closure application for Salsa Sunset and Sobro for September 20th. You want to tell us a little bit what that's about? I think we probably have the letters in the packet, but we can educate the public about it as well.
Yeah, so we're trying to do something, salsa related, that's on Broadway. We do something like, the Halloween that we do down there, something similar. We're gonna have a DJ, some salsa teachers for free lessons. Get the community involved, get some vendors out there as well. And yeah, it's a night project, so 6 to 10, we have a little sunset,
It's a community.
for the community.
All right.
This sounds fun. I'm not gonna be here, but that sounds fun. Really sad.
So when you say salsa, you mean?
Salsa.
Not food.
Not salsa.
Sing.
Salsa, yeah.
Yeah, dancing. Oh, I'll be.
But yeah, I hope we can do a couple of
That
those,
is
so.
Italy. Oh, really? I'm going to Italy on the
You're gonna have features?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there, so
yeah.
when it's kind of cool. That sounds.
You don't wanna see me.
All right, so. Let's, any comments or questions or any other thoughts about this? I think that generally it's nice to do events down in Sobro. We don't do a lot of them and they
True.
sometimes feel that that they don't get as much attention as sort of the more downtown, the other.
It's just the block, right? Or is it like half the block? It's half the
We're not
block.
gonna block, Murray's, gas station.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
it's
like
more
they did
from like,
before.
like Hudson to like towards the beginning of
Beginning
your.
like for more.
It opens
Okay.
one entrance, so it closes one of his.
Side,
exits,
yeah.
The same thing that they're gonna have in October there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
same basic platform.
that's what I couldn't remember if it's closed the whole thing.
No.
Are you, so you're gonna block one of his entrances?
No,
You don't block the other, you don't block the northern entrance?
no, no,
Are you-
it's like angled.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he gets both, can you get in and out without both? You could.
It's a little tight.
They
Yeah,
like
but
their
they just do it, yeah,
we're,
It's a little
I'm
tight.
alright.
very easy.
I piss off Murray.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. Okay.
All right, we can get, this is until still September 20th, but we wanna probably try to give him a little, because we're not gonna
Yes.
meet again until September 10th, so he has to start marketing it.
Yep,
Are we all generally okay with this?
I am, yeah. I think that's
Okay,
great.
what's the approximate cost of the street closure, Andy?
It's always, it's an hourly rate on overtime. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be about 500, 600 bucks, something like that, but I'm just, literally just a guess, I don't know.
We have generally sometimes with some of these events that are more public spirited as opposed to being, money makers on their own right, that we sometimes cover those costs. And it's a new event. I'd be inclined to be more
We're lenient and-
more generous to just to pay for the street closure for this event. Not saying it's a tradition, not saying it's a precedent for every event, but you're trying to get your feet underneath you for this event. So if we can do this.
Just to clarify, are you gonna have vendors at the event?
We're gonna try to have like 4 or 5 vendors, yeah.
Okay, are you charging them for being here or taking a cut of their?
At this point, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Pastor Joseph.
Oh, he's here. Okay, he's on my list.
He just got.
Okay. Are we okay with that? It's not a huge amount of money. It's not, he's gonna have some vendors, but there's also marketing costs associated with it. It's an expensive item. He's not, he didn't get a tourism grant for this. He didn't apply, he didn't get it in time. He didn't have the idea in time.
Right.
Are we okay with that? Sense of the
I'm
board?
fine with it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm okay.
Okay, all right, so, we'll stipulate $500. If it's a little more than that, then you have to cover the difference, but we'll stipulate the first 500 of the cost of the street closure.
Okay.
All right, you got your date. We'll get it on the resolution for the next meeting to make it formal, but you got it.
Alright, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank
Do you
you.
need a rain date? Or you gonna do it there, rain or shine?
Rain or shine, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
All right.
Fight through.
September 6th.
Twenty.
20.
September 20th.
Okay.
One quick question, so salsa dancing, so are they gonna be giving salsa dancing lessons?
Yeah,
Or,
we have a teacher in the beginning from like 6 to 6:45. There's a teacher.
Okay.
So. it's
I
good.
just cut a rug or cut
Yeah.
the street, whatever it is, yeah. Oh,
It sounds like a great event. Good
Yeah,
luck.
thank you.
Good luck with
Yeah,
it.
guys, thank you.
I'll certainly try to be there. All right, some of the other people I wanted to bring up, was Barbara Taylor here? She had something, and then Pastor Joseph, I know, just walked in. Pastor Joseph wants to come up because he has a quick request for Easter Square for August 30th.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Greetings to everyone, board mayor,
every year.
village administrator.
Talk louder.
Yeah, last year at this time, we did something like this where we get involved with the community, the churches. And basically, the whole theme of what we do is to be able to integrate in the community. The importance of the church, we want it to be known to the community. We're here to provide services for them, whatever they need. Not only look for jobs for them, help them out, but give them counseling as well. So, of course, if you're familiar with the Nyack Church of God, we've been around since the early 60s, went into the 70s at 86 First Street, one of the First Haitian Church of God. They named the street, and we're honored after Bishop Kendall Joseph, my father, who's no longer here with us. So we just want to give back to the community because in these hard times, I think people need a place to go to where they find peace and they need counseling, just some words of encouragement. And that's basically what it is, interaction. music, talk to, the community. And, let them know that the churches are here for them. And we wanted to see if we can have the dates of the 30th of August, I know short notice. And the 27th, all those days are Saturday from 4 to 7. By the time, I think we have to have some cleanup time to get ourselves, put our stuff away. So we'll give or take, we want to finish by 7 o'clock.
On Saturday, September 27th.
Yes, that's one of the
And
days.
you're talking about August 30th.
Yes. Yeah,
What time is your event?
from 4 to 7.
Okay, so it's after the flower market, I guess the same day.
Yes.
There's no conflict that I could see. I'm literally looking at the event guide that we're putting together. So this is like every event that's going on. And there's a flower market that day, but nothing that would conflict in Easter Square at 4 o'clock. So this would be for 2 dates. This is a sort of sua sponte resolution to approve the use of Easter Square for this purpose on August 30th and September 27th from 4 to 7 p.m. Now, I just realized it's a non-exclusive use in the sense that they're not charging, they're not blocking anybody, people can go in and out of the park or out of the square. But they do have the right and to be there, which is what they're looking for. Any comments? Do we have any other?
I just
thoughts?
want to get a clear thought. So you're gonna be there, you and I guess some of your congregation.
Many other churches.
So it's gonna be different
Different churches, yeah,
coming together.
right.
With music playing
Yes, music playing,
and an opportunity for counseling
absolutely,
and job possibilities or assisting people
right. So-
about job availability or.
Absolutely. So, basically, we'll set up appointments, we'll give our cards out, whatever church they decide to say, hey, okay, I would like to go to this church. And if you can help us, and that's the way we do our counseling, basically. So, we don't want to get too personal
Right.
at that moment.
No, but it's just sort of
Interaction.
meeting to interact and then they can meet on a more kind of one-on-one basis afterwards.
Exactly.
With job possibility, helping with resume writing or just looking for jobs, like.
That, a little bit of that too, because a lot of churches do, have connections in terms of, getting jobs, helping
Okay.
out. So we're at their disposal for that.
Okay, I just wanted to get a clear idea so that I could kind of tell people. Unfortunately, I would like to see this, but I'm gonna be away on both those dates. But I think this is a wonderful thing, very helpful with the community and
Absolutely.
just the atmosphere and temperature of what's going on these days. So
Yes.
that could be informative.
Yes, and I believe the churches. I think people think churches are just religious institutions only, but we have so many things we do to just help the community, because remember, if the community is sick, then we're sick. So our duty and our job is to make sure we make ourselves available to the community, to help the community in what ways we can. We can't promise them the world, but we definitely can bring them close to their goals and what they're trying to accomplish.
And so I'm assuming, because we're talking about your church as well, so there'll be people speaking in Creole, Spanish, possibly,
Exactly.
and English, so
Yes.
good, okay,
3 languages.
perfect. That's all I have, but I think that's really good.
All right, so can I get a resolution on the table to approve the use of Hezekiah Easter Square by Pastor Joseph for the events as described?
Motion.
From 4 to 7 p.m. on August 30th and September 27th.
Motion.
Second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations and have a good
Thank you.
event.
We
Have 2
appreciate
good
it.
events.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And then last, before we get to public comment, Bill Batson is here, I think on behalf of the cemetery.
That's right.
And you have some people here with you?
A very colorful group, I would.
Tell Louis you should sell that merch.
You all have on a
Yeah,
different.
there's no resolution here, right? There's no action item. This is just a communication. Okay.
The letters and.
Yeah, so we're responding to letters that have gone back and forth. My name is Bill Batts. I'm here tonight with Oak Hill Cemetery trustee Mary
DeLuise, our recently appointed Superintendent Jay Phillips, and the owner of our landscaping contractor, Louis Kriegel, and we're asking to amend the ordinance concerning noise.
Let's actually clarify this. Would this require a changing of the actual ordinance, or would it require a resolution allowing for they want to be able to use gas powered leaf blowers for certain times of the year up at the cemetery?
It's specified in our code, so a local law would be required to amend our code. Anytime you're changing our law.
I know, are we changing the law, or are we simply making a sort of a step?
Right now, there are very clear prohibitions about gas leaf blowers, and there are certain exceptions, I think, limited exceptions, maybe, or.
Yeah, there's exceptions for, like government purposes, things like that,
So-
emergencies.
What is being requested, what I understand, is they would like, an additional exception, I think, from what I've
That's
read,
correct.
is for properties of a certain size.
Exactly.
50 acres.
So that would be a local law.
Okay, so this would be, but not specific to them, but to any
Large
property of a
property.
certain
It's a large
property.
property.
Exactly.
So you're looking for there to be an exemption, would the exemption, we want to apply it all year round or only during fall and spring cleanup?
Fall and spring cleaning. 3 years. We're asking for 3 years.
Only 3?
Yeah,
And reevaluate after.
3 value,
Oh,
because
okay.
we're assuming you'll see, well, if we did our presentation, part of it was that the technology hasn't
Well,
really caught
We
up.
probably would, so maybe resolution, can we make an amendment to three, no, it's amended back.
You could amend the local law to carve out an exception for certain property sizes of a large magnitude. That's up to you to decide whether or not you want to do it, what the size will be. If you'd like to do it, and then a year, 2, 3 years, 4 years from now, you can change it back
Yeah.
to no exceptions.
What other properties would be affected by this if we set a size limitation?
Depends on the size you pick. So the cemetery is by far the largest property.
We're 50 plus acres.
Other large properties in the village would be something like Rockland Gardens, the BOCES campus, the hospital.
Somebody came to us.
Yeah, no, they came to us about the 3.
Yeah.
So it just, if you wanted to do an amendment based on the size, you could pick a number that basically just meant the cemetery would be exempted or have different rules, or you could include properties of a more medium level, you know.
Let's say any commercial properties.
It's something that we're
That's
talking about.
tricky.
The question is, if you want us to work on this, we will. And provide options to you.
I'm a little worried, I won't lie. Only because, this year I haven't heard anything, but I believe it was last year. I know, Joe Carlin, you received some messages. I certainly received some messages from the neighbors on like Haven and Midland in that whole area complaining about the noise. And they did particularly single out the hospital, Oak Hill, and the high school. But I do understand the concerns that you're coming with, so I'm a little worried that, you know, everybody was constantly emailing, like, don't change the law or enforce the law, is not going to be happy with seeing the change too.
Oh, no, I mean, we just got through the cannabis thing, now we're gonna have the leaf blower.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like,
Every
that's-
time I think
that's
I'm out, they
the-
pull me back in.
That's the worry that I share is,
4-hour meetings all fall, yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
well, I mean, I think because at some point someone else had come forward and it was also the same thing. They had asked for an exception for the
Everybody
season.
wants, it's, well, I will say
So
this,
that's my only concern.
yeah, no, I think it's a really good concern, because I think there's a lot of, it's just, there's a lot of people that are intractably opposed to this. And they were very happy that we passed the law. I will note, didn't Upper Nile consider changing, because their law allows for exceptions in the spring and fall cleanups, did they eliminate those exceptions?
Which is,
No.
They kept them after
So far.
consideration.
So far they have.
yeah.
The only thing is though, I mean, in a lot of the complaints before, it happened during COVID, people. working
Right,
from home,
right.
smelling it.
Well, no, the complaints went
But-
back years. and-
Well, maybe years, but what I'm thinking, but then the newer stuff
that
was
was
when they
also
were
noise
working from home
Yeah.
and COVID. I mean, how many, there's a apartment building, you think about the cemetery. I know we don't want to set a precedent, but how many people would be affected by smelling it?
See, I don't think it's, I don't know if I would say the smell is the problem. I think it's the noise.
One of the things that Lou is gonna talk about is that currently the technology and the equipment that he would have to purchase to comply with the ordinance is as loud, and he is making the argument and has documents to demonstrate, or louder. So it's not really switching to electric, doesn't always get the goal.
Commercial, yeah.
Especially for commercial and the amount of, you know, cause it's 50 acres plus, it's sloped, it's wooded, and we're kind of publicly accessible. We're open from 8 AM till, you know, 8 PM for half of the year and 8 AM to 5 PM. People come at all times and all places. We don't know, there's not like a path that we have to
No.
clear. It's the entire, cause people wanna visit their loved ones and they can be at the top, at the bottom, in the middle.
So maybe look at what you mentioned.
There's still no one running.
Do you want it,
Maybe
should we go ahead?
Yeah, no, let's.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's hear it.
yeah.
We'll skip over this.
Bill, are you here as a,
Well, I'm a board of, this is my third term as a trustee.
member of,
I'm a trustee of Oak Hill.
okay.
You're all over.
One of the many.
And I'm the president of Mount Moore Cemetery.
Oh.
With them because
Outside our jurisdiction.
they're, well, okay.
Mount Moore is in.
Hezekiah Easter is very there. That's what. Lou?
Never mind.
Now, give us the quick summary of it, because we have to get to our agenda.
Well, you said there's a med, right?
Good evening. Thank
Speak loudly.
I guess, I don't know if it's working.
That's working, yeah.
Okay, great.
Right into it.
Yeah, thank you for letting us address you. Any of the concerns that you might have as far as the equipment that we're using and the processes and the requirements of a site that big are basically a municipal style equipment that we have to use on that type of job. It's like you said, it's by far one of, or if the largest property in the in the village. And it requires a consistent maintenance issue and maintenance process continuously from the first start of the leaf drop, which could be, in a few weeks from now, all the way through December.
started.
We've got, it's called Oak Hill. So they've got the most magnificent oak trees that you could see anywhere in this northeast area. But they do hang on leaves for a long time. They do require a lot of work on a consistent basis. We have crews that are, my crew, this is our 31st year as the grounds maintenance contractor for Oak Hill. We're very proud of that. They're one of our stellar accounts.
Tell us about the equipment.
Sure, no problem. So the equipment is basically, the requirement would be to go to a battery powered blower. No gas power. So at this point, the technology only exists in a residential style blower powered by a battery. In our situation, we would probably, each one of the units on the more commercial size style unit would cost us about $1,800 each one. In comparison to what we use now, we would probably have to buy 13 to 15 units to try to match the same performance level of what our gas powered units produce.
How much are the gas powered units?
The gas powered units are about $600. As well as the workforce that's going to have to man those electric powered blowers, which we don't know if it's going to be viable. We're looking at an average of 10 people extra that we're gonna have to hire for an 8-hour day. So that's about 80 man hours per day as an extra, just to man the extra amount of electric locally.
What's the reason for are they just less efficient? They last less, is it the fact that they run out of batteries? So
They run out of batteries you can maximum get about 2 hours of usage out of them.
the blowing power compared to the gas product is a third of what the power would be. For a residential property, as an, you know, as an example, for a residential property, a small site, they're marginally acceptable. But on a larger scale, there are very few, and you know, we're an Orange and Rockland contractor. We do a lot of municipal work. We actually worked for the water company for many years. So it's just a very daunting task that we don't know, and we're very hedgy about being able to provide the service.
But what the proposal would be to allow it for a limited period of time during the spring cleanup and the fall cleanup. Can you live with the electrics during the summer? Can you get by with them during the summer?
For the summer, yes, because we're, you know, basically it's merely just roadway cleanup and things like that, or if there are specific ceremonies that are going on in the cemetery that need some headstones cleaned up in various areas around there, that could be accommodated.
So you could live with it the rest of the year, but for what's the cleanup season and what's the cleanup season in the spring and the fall?
The fall cleanup season starts September, runs pretty much through December.
We probably can't do it for that long period of time. All right, what are the thoughts on this? I mean, I think it's, we've gotten these requests from the big property owners a number of times, and they say the same thing. And it might be worth investigating. I credit him with this, that he's being truthful about this, but we, you know, could do our own inquiry to just make sure, you know, in terms of what's available and whatnot. The idea of having to hire more people for a longer period of time is it's not so much the added cost of the equipment, because the equipment's the equipment, but if it really does take a lot more people to do it, that's tough.
Can we just carve out cemeteries? Do we have to
Well, we can carve out based on size of the properties.
and we can't carve out about the type of property? Yeah.
Carve out
Cemeteries?
exceptions, whatever you want.
Yeah, I only say that because cemeteries are unique in the fact
Yes.
that it is primarily, with the exception of headstones, it's primarily like lawn or ground space really versus, you know, say the hospital or Nyack, Old Nyack High School, which, you know, isn't being made, it's not being used the way it used to be. So, you know, it's got a little bit, those are more unique, those ones are a little bit different versus the cemetery. And I would feel comfortable carving out cemeteries in general for this versus everything based on acreage, because then I think
You run into other problems.
yeah, we're gonna start running into other problems, then it's gonna be, hey, can we reduce? And that's when it gets into that sort of slippery slope. So I'm wondering if we can sort of limit it to cemeteries. And then to your point, I do like the 3-year rule just to sort of reevaluate where technology is, where people are, where things.
We don't know,
Right.
they're actively, you know, developing this
Yeah,
technology as
yeah.
part of the future, but
Right.
right now, there really isn't any kind of viable alternative for us in
Right,
use as well.
I mean, all we're doing at this point is saying, do we want to start looking at legislation and start developing some legislation that would implement the changes that they're asking for? That's all we need to do at this point. Are we open to doing that, just to look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
actually, I'm a little bit contrarian on this. As Pascal mentioned, I've received over the past year or so, a lot of complaints about gas blowers at the cemetery. Even though we did pass the legislation and you guys ignored it. Basically, you used the gas leaf blowers in spite of the fact that we did have legislation prohibiting it.
Well, I do, in fairness, they weren't the worst offenders. The guys that are on everyone's, like, I think, well, I don't want to name names, but there were a few of the other landscaping companies who were flat out just, even for just regular people.
I'm not talking about them, but they're specifically coming here for us to make an exception.
Right, no, I understand that. I just more meant that
So the people,
I heard more complaints about the others than.
well, I got all the
Okay.
complaints from front and from anyway,
I think we could-
I don't mind investigating it. But I don't think this village board can make a change without having a public hearing.
Oh, I was gonna forget the legislation, of course it'd be.
Yeah, we have, let's talk about this.
Yeah, Joe, as I mentioned, there has to be a local law to do this.
Yeah.
So there will be.
Right, there's gonna be a lot of opposition to it.
There's gonna be a lot of angry and loud people, but there's also.
Are you looking for, let's say, between September and December? A full carte blanche to use.
The way the law was
yeah.
before.
The way that we want to revert to the phase.
Before you implemented the.
3 months.
You had, you had,
Alright, alright, Marge, we gotta.
May, September through December.
Okay, well.
And the 15th of September through the 15th of December. And then the 15th of March. On a daily basis.
Or at certain hours, we could put hourly restrictions on it, we could put day restrictions on it, we could carve it out however we wanna carve it out.
Okay.
I think, I mean, listen, we should, the request is coming in from a cemetery that's been here for 150 years.
We need to look at it.
1848.
Was I shorting, did I short you, was it more like 170?
Right, cause we were like, what?
I'm gonna get started.
It was like, well,
It's
it's more than 150, I guess, well, then even more to the point. It's a special case, and I think it's
It
worth
really
looking at,
is.
and listen. People write me, yes, there's gonna be some people that are gonna be complaining about and irritated about it, and we should hear them out and hear what they have to say. But we also have to take into consideration the situation, of what position that we put the cemetery in. And if it comes to it, there's some situation that some other petitioners might come up to ask for similar exemptions, and we just gotta, that's the job, that we have to consider it, we have to look at it, we have to listen to people that are complaining to us, we have to. I'll have to tape Thursday Night Football, because we'll probably see it for the whole game, for all our fall meetings. But that's what we do. So let's investigate it.
Yeah.
Why don't you send us what you're requesting, like a specific itemized list of what you're requesting, and then we'll take a look at it and we'll start drawing up, this shouldn't be complicated legislation, I would think.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what you really need from them. It just sounds like you want to carve out an exception for properties of a certain size or larger.
Or a certain type,
Just like.
at these dates, these times.
For a
that-
certain type,
Yeah.
than a certain size.
If you could limit as much as possible the days and the hours, that is, I think, the key here. Because you don't want to be doing it on the weekends, right?
Generally speaking, even when we, in that mode of the fall leaf cleanup, we generally visit the site probably 2 or 3 days a week. But generally speaking, we can kind of cull that down a bit and work a little bit more diligently if that's what the.
Okay, I'm not saying that everybody has their own vote here. I'm not saying that I would be for or against it. I just want to see the proposal.
And we work within your accommodation, and we wanna work with you so that 3 years from now, if it wasn't working out, if we needed to ask for an extension, we wanna be able to be, in compliance and in good faith.
And once there's a public hearing, then you'll hear from believe me, this is a subject that you'll have a lot of public.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I've been in.
We have no-
I've been in.
Part of the job. It's worth.
We experience,
Yeah.
we're regional in the area, and we experience the lower, these noise violations and noise ordinances all across the Northeast area. And it's daunting, it puts a lot of pressure on the contractor to provide that exceptional service to their customer. And we do work within everybody's parameters. We try to, and try to just, acquiesce to everybody's needs. But there are certain limitations that we have to provide the right service to our customer.
And if you're hearing anything, if you reach out to us, I'll be responsive.
I have a quick question for you. So would we be the only municipality that require, like, you probably have a lot of accounts. Are we the only one that require electric leaf blowers?
No, but you're one of the few that has a full blower ban. A whole year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Regionally and in the areas, most of the municipalities have carved out a certain time frame in the year that you're allowed to, Tarrytown for instance, June 15th to September 15th, you're not allowed. Anytime after those dates correspond to cleanup times, you're allowed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so and that's accommodating, that's what we would do, we change our procedures to accommodate that type of stuff. If we have to go back to a push broom and sweeping, you know, then we do that on the off times.
You know, people think differently about cemeteries now than they did a long time ago, but people would look at cemeteries as public parks, and it's an incredible space. If you haven't been there, the
I
views are
walk it
incredible.
sometimes, it's
And
beautiful.
on October 26th, the Historical Society is doing a tour, so if people wanna come and see Oak Hill, it's incredible.
And we just want to keep it as pristine as we can.
Like an open open house.
Andy, can you get this very top of the place?
Yeah, we have 24,131 eternal residents.
Wow.
24,000.
All right, we gotta get back. We are up to agenda item 2. So we have to move along.
So we.
Thank you. Get us a proposal
Communicate.
and we'll give it to the attorney. We'll look at ourselves. We'll start to carve out
Thank you
something.
very much.
Well, that we can then review in part of the public hearing.
See you on the
Although
26th.
we'll start getting emails tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
Mayor. Thanks, trustees.
For those of you keeping track at home, we are up to action item number 3, public comments on any topic. Let's get it, hopefully we'll go a little quicker from now on. If you have a public comment, come on up, grab the mic and tell us who you are, what your you don't have to give us your personal address, but you can tell us where you live if you live in the village.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes.
That's one too. Hi, my name's Tom Dudzik. On Monday, Labor Day, it will be 29 years that my wife and I have lived in Nyack. We raise our kids here, we love it here. Nyack has everything I could ask for in a small village. My problem is my neighborhood has become incredibly loud. I live on Sickles Avenue across the street from Nyack Hospital. And in the past few years, the ambulances and the fire trucks and the motorcycles and the cars with the roaring engines and the car alarms in the new parking garage have made it impossible to enjoy my surroundings. The daily helping of noise is intolerable, and I can't be the only one who feels this way. Now, of course, we need ambulances and fire trucks, so I have a proposal. I propose that the village get in touch with the hospital people and get them to place signs around the hospital perimeter, signs that say quiet hospital zone. And at the same time, get the hospital people to have a conversation with the ambulance people, explain the noise situation to them and ask them to instruct their drivers to turn off their sirens once they've reached the hospital block, the quiet zone. And more than that, before they even reach the quiet zone, if they see that there are no cars blocking their route, to please turn off the siren, because at that point it's unnecessary. They are home free. The same conversation could be had with the fire truck people. When approaching the quiet hospital zone, if there are no cars blocking your route, turn off the siren. Now, regarding the motorcycles and loud cars, if you're not familiar with the area, those drivers love to gun their engines and roar up 9W and North Midland. I realize nothing can stop them because there are presently no signs telling them that it's a quiet zone. But once the signs are up, at least they'll be in violation of a noise ordinance and they can be fined. That should have some effect. However, if Nyack presently has no noise ordinance, then it seems like it would be a good idea to create one. And so that is my proposal, signs and conversations between the village, the hospital, the ambulance people, and the fire truck people. Thank you.
I have a question. First of all, hello and happy early anniversary. Do you find that there's been the noise with the ambulance and all of that has increased? I mean, you've lived there a long time, so have you saw a noticeable?
Yes, yes, in the last 3-4 years, it's got increasing, louder. Yeah, it's a definite thing.
Okay. I was just curious if it's louder, and you told me how long it's been going on, for about 3 or 4 years. You've obviously noticed it.
Oh, yeah.
So why do you think the hospital's noisier than it was? Just it's bigger? More
ambulances rushing to it, yeah. I don't understand.
When was the last time there was a meeting with the hospital? I know that happened. Like,
it's a while ago.
Yeah, there was at some point periodic meetings with hospital because of the parking and the neighbors in the area. I've been
Yeah, that's
to
probably
a few
good.
of them.
We did have them come
Yep.
to a couple of
Yeah.
public meetings that we had regarding issues for local residents.
Right.
It has been a bit, of time, and so it's probably worthwhile to put something on the
Yep.
agenda,
Yeah.
like not in a meeting here, but to put up like, we should sit down with the leadership of the hospital and talk about there's a lot of different issues. This is one of them.
I know I'm like.
And the thing about the motorcycles and the cars and stuff is just, I don't know that a quiet zone sign would do anything, and they do it through the residential neighborhoods downtown as well. It's just bad behavior, antisocial behavior. But we can look at,
But if they started getting fined.
well, the problem is that, I mean, the police have to issue the
Enforcement,
fines,
right?
and so the police are doing lots of things that quite understandably take priority from their perspective. And it's difficult you have to catch them literally in the act of doing it. They can't kind of show up later. Well, we're looking at some things that might relate to that. We were looking at more for the marina, where we have a lot of loud vehicles down there as well. 9W, that's not our road.
State road.
That's state road, so we don't have as much authority over that road as we do the internal village roads. But with regard to the hospital, we can talk to the hospital, and that's part of your complaint. So let's talk to the hospital and see what we can get. Where we can get there.
Should I follow up in any way with you?
Sure.
guys? Send you
Shoot me an email,
Yeah.
joerand@nyack.gov.
pretty much what I just said here today.
That letter,
yeah.
did you send that to anybody?
No.
Okay.
Oh, the letter you have,
Give
just
it
ask the
right
letter.
to them, yeah.
But no, send it to me as well, so we have it in the
Yeah.
digital.
Yeah,
Would it be
what was it, the hospital, the ambulance route supposed to go on 9W, into that entrance to the hospital?
No, I think they
I
go
can tell you what
around.
it is because I.
Now they go,
I think they start to go down Fifth.
they go down Midland
Or-
and they turn
yeah.
in. But
Yeah,
I thought there was a suggestion, that maybe they could reroute,
I think
ambulances.
they reroute to Fifth Avenue, go down Fifth onto Midland and then take the entrance in there. Sometimes I see them. And then other times I see them go down, I guess is that Haven? No, whatever, I forgot what street is by Pals. Go
Yeah.
down that street and then onto Midland.
Sickles.
Is that Sickles? Oh, that's the top of Sickles
Yeah,
there.
very often they.
Yeah.
Come up 9W, turn on Sickles, go right.
Go
past the
right
porch,
past, yeah.
And then. Onto
But
Midland.
there's another,
Because it's
but
gone
the
farther.
there is an entrance to the hospital on 9W between Sickles and Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
But I think they always go
Not
out
the emergency
that
room.
way.
That's emergency.
Yeah. Emergency room is on the opposite
And then they
side.
just have to go down the internal.
Well, I don't think it's that, because of how they reconfigured it, I don't know if they can make that loop in to where that parking spot
Oh,
is.
right. They have to go
Versus
down
when
the
they're
parking
going
lot.
down on Sickles to Midland and then they loop right in
Got
and
it.
they're like right in front of the emergency room.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Enjoy
And
your
again,
anniversary,
congratulations.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else with public comment?
Congratulations
Come on
on the
up.
new cat.
New cat, there's a new cat.
Congratulations on the new cat.
Oh, thank you.
Do we have the timer, 2 minutes?
Oh, so. Oh, I thought it was like sort of 1 to 3 minutes.
Is 1 to 3, depending on is anybody else coming here for public comment? Can I see a show of
Yes,
hands?
we have people back there coming up, yep, absolutely, garden
So-
contingency, Facebook familiar.
3 minutes, but if you.
My speech according to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I'll try to go fast. Hi, I'm Megan Rackay. I'm a licensed wildlife rehabilitator and I live in Nyack. We all want fewer rats in our neighborhoods, but the way that we're controlling them now is dangerous, ineffective, and wasteful. Did you know that a single pair of rats can lead to 15,000 offspring in 1 year, having a litter of 6 to 12 babies every 3 to 4 weeks? That's why traditional methods like traps and poison rarely solve the problem. They just keep coming back. Additionally, secondary poisoning from rodent traps threatens our pets, local wildlife, and the balance of our environment. As a licensed wildlife rehabilitator here in Nyack, I'm proposing a lesser known but more effective method of rodent control in our town, and one that major cities in the US like the NYC and Boston are already implementing and seeing high success rates in rodent birth control. And I know that sounds funny, but before you laugh, hear me out. We're not going to be giving rats Plan B or educating them on responsible procreating. What I'm talking about is a real and powerful approach
to a problem we've all had and one I understand very well. This is a rodent fertility control bait designed to reduce rodent populations by targeting a rat's reproductive system rather than death. Whenever you kill a rat, another one quickly takes its place. When you use lethal means of pest control, it can feel like a never-ending battle between you and the animals invading your property. This is because since they reproduce so quickly, new rodents are being born faster than you can get rid of them, especially in outdoor areas like parks and gardens. And because of that, there's truly no end in sight, money's wasted, and wildlife is killed. Rodent birth control works by attacking the problem at its root, the ability for rats to overproduce at an explosive rate, while at the same time being safer for our environment and more cost-effective. Rats can learn from negative experiences and avoid traditional rodenticides and traps. For this reason as well, the birth control is a better option, acting as a delicious and sneaky treat for unassuming rats. Secondary poisoning from rodent traps threatens our pets, local wildlife, and the balance of the environment. What this means is that not only are the rodents poisoned, but so are their natural predators too when they consume them. I've seen large poison bait traps in Memorial Park next to the pollinator garden where the children and dogs play. And here's the thing, rodent poison doesn't work quickly. In fact, it takes 3 to 10 days for a rodent to die from poison. In that time, while the poison's in their system, they're easy targets for native predators like our beautiful birds of prey, foxes, scavengers, and even outdoor cats. After the predators eat them, they too suffer lethal consequences of poison. And as a rehabilitator, I've seen firsthand the horrors of secondary poisoning in our local wildlife. The number of animal deaths associated with this is not well known because most of them are never found. When they are, most cannot be saved due to the lethal effects of poison. And in a climate where we have to protect our native species, this is unacceptable. The study shows that rates of detection can range from 55% to 100% in various bird populations. For example, in New York, they found 68% of red-tailed hawks have rodenticide in their system. So please, kind members of the community and board, consider my plea and commit to a method that will not only be effective and finally control rodent populations for good, but be safer too for everyone. We're finally addressing humane animal welfare with the TNVR program and building of a new shelter, and we look forward to wildlife being treated the same way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I've got a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for all of that. You obviously are passionate about what you do and you've, I didn't know about that. I've heard about rodent, birth control. I just want to say, first of all, that they skeeve me out and I'm very they're like, I'm not going in the garden, but, anymore, but. So what does this birth control, is it food?
So they have both a liquid and a soft bait. They're kind of look like the poison traps. They have the closed system where it has a tamper-proof lock, and then the rats can go in, eat they have water bottles, and then they have the soft bait. Then they go in, and then it attacks their reproductive system, makes it so that they can't have babies anymore. And New York City they did a trial run in there, and they were seeing a 90-something% decrease in the rats in their area.
Do you have a company? Do you work independently or you work for a company?
So I'm an independently licensed wildlife rehabber, but I work with Rockland Wildlife, and I also work with Pottingdale Cottage in Westchester.
And so, I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering if, what's your name again?
I'm Megan.
Megan.
Megan Rackay, yes.
Megan, can Megan, maybe advise the village, help Andy, DPW?
She's already, this is all from an email call we had on Facebook. She then emailed me and
okay.
She said she was telling very good contact.
Okay, good.
So it looks just like the regular bait stations, but do you wait for them to go in there, or do you try to identify where their nests are?
So I guess what you would do is kind of just place it in the areas where you're seeing high traffic, and they can just go in and out freely. They don't get trapped or anything, and it will just start working in their systems. Sorry?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
And since their lifespans are short, people that have been using these methods are seeing a pretty quick turnaround with the population control.
Decreasing.
Yes.
How often do they have to take, this birth control, so to speak?
Once a month. sure. I mean, I would assume semi-regularly.
Okay.
So since they will consider that like a food source for them, they will be frequenting it.
Okay.
Probably daily, they'll be going in.
What's the lifetime?
Rats' usual lifespan, if they don't get eaten first, is like 1 to 2 years.
Outside?
Outside, it would probably be less because of
Yeah.
all the, predators.
First. Well,
I mean, my lifespan is hopefully 80, but if I don't get eaten first. And we all have the risk of getting eaten before our natural lifespan plays out. I mean, it's all, listen,
I'll fight a boxing.
it's not, the probabilities are low, but they're not zero. Are you related to John McKay?
Yes, that's my dad.
Your dad, he's a great guy. I grew up with him in Congress. We're Facebook friends now. We don't see each other much, but we go back to the old Congress Valley College days. So please give him my best and I will shoot him a message to tell him you did a great job. Thank you for coming up. Appreciate it. Keep in touch with me on Facebook and we'll.
This question's
It's a comment, I actually did stick around and hear about the garden, but just in addition to that, I think one of the things that New York City did, and there was just a story about how, it's significantly decreased the amounts of rats, it's just enforced that people have proper trash receptacles. And, I just moved to South Broadway. I mean, again, I used to live further down south, but I'm in the business district and I was kind of horrified to find out that you don't have to put your garbage out in a garbage can, you just put up bags on the street. And it also kind of relates to this whole thing about trying to get tourists and people to the village, because as soon as it's dusk, I mean, I look out my window and I see people walking by and I hear like screams and rats are just running in front of people on South Broadway and also in the night when there aren't people there, and they're all there, they're at the garbage. There's all these just garbage bags on the street.
All right, thank you again, Megan. Give your dad my best.
Thank you.
Other public comments?
Well, I don't think it goes this way. How often does this birth control, does it make them sterile?
Yeah.
That's what it does, so once they eat that thing, one treatment.
I think they have to like continue to take it.
All right, we gotta move the meeting. If you have public comment, come on up and make your public comment.
Is there something to do about having trash receptacles in that?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yes, please, go ahead.
So there's a lot of rats.
Could you just introduce yourself and?
I'm Elizabeth Turk. I garden at the community garden and, just about 3 weeks ago, we'd see a rat or two, and then about 3 weeks ago, we saw a lot. You couldn't go in there without them running right past you. We pulled out our garden because it's so full of them. And, I'm just hoping the village is gonna do something because as you see, they're down on Broadway, they don't stay in the property lines.
Yeah, they're not just.
They're everywhere. There's a huge nest right outside the fence where my garden is. They're coming out of the tree and they're just running into the garden.
I want to say one thing, that's true, and I've witnessed them too, and it's not a pleasant thing. I know that the village was working along with the property management at the plaza, and so I'm always looking at that. They did remove that huge dumpster that was there, which is great because they were going underneath that, so that's completely gone. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that other dumpster where the nests are in the ground, that I think that that's gonna be a cement slab. I don't know, maybe somebody can answer that tonight.
Yeah.
To kind of eliminate that.
And is the fire that happened, I hear they closed up the building with all.
Yeah, that might be part of, that might have been a
Like-
contributing factor.
Mayor, why don't we have Manny comment? He's been working actively on this.
All right.
Great, so
did
we
you-
have Manny here.
Anybody else want to make public comments on this issue?
Anybody else first before Manny comes up?
I just want to say it was before the fire as well.
Yeah.
That's what I was
It
hearing
just-
as well.
Well, we've had a growing rat situation in various parts of the village. We've been tamping it down. It's a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole.
Station.
Yeah, well, but this is relatively new, you said, last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the only point that I think I was making. Go ahead, Manning.
They want complete. Oh, I've been in.
Yes, we do have a wax up, we might do a great, all the comments made here tonight, but we are working diligent on that. Not only in the garden and the Naya Plaza, but on downtown Main Street, Broadway, and Main Street itself. We're going door to door, talking to the business owners. They have made some changes already on how they put in other garbage. Sure, we haven't reached to everybody yet, and not everybody's cooperating at 100%, but most of them are. Right now with Naya Plaza, they are putting, unfortunately, we're doing what the young lady said we should be doing, but we are putting baits out there for poison to get them. We met with the exterminator and the management. We walked the area. They will be putting a slab under that dumpster.
Okay.
They will be removing the other one that is there, and we are gonna be putting poison also inside the building.
Oh, not birth control.
Unfortunately, we can't go into the building as of yet because the insurance is still doing investigation. But we're gonna try to throw the poison into the building and try to control it that way. So yeah, we are working, it's a process that will take time. Yeah, it's not, as you heard tonight, they get reproduced too quickly. So it will take some time, but we are taking steps to alleviate the situation.
Are we thinking, or is the possibility that we would take into account and possibly using the birth control as well?
I think it's a great idea. I heard it tonight for the first time. Absolutely, yes, that's a great idea.
Hey, Manny, you say that, compliance is not 100% when you walk around the downtown area. In terms of garbage containers and whatever. Are you giving out notices? Are you violating people for that?
Not only that, we knock in the doors, some of the problems is the tenants. We do have tenants that live on second floors and trying to get a hold of them and making them do it correctly is.
Wouldn't the landlords be responsible?
They are responsible, yeah, but again, it's a process, people live there all day, every day. The landlords are not there all the time. So trying to get that communication through and that education to that tenant, takes a little bit of time.
But if it's painful for the landlord, he'll make it painful for the tenant.
How?
What's that?
How is it gonna make it painful for the tenant? What does he do?
I am a tenant. I think one of the problems is there's no place to put the trash cans for the landlords that are sandwiched in between other buildings. Like in my hall, there's no room for a trash can.
That is a problem for a lot of the properties in downtown, Nyack. So what we're doing, they're sharing spaces. Like the pizzeria here at the corner, they're sharing spaces with another property in the back. So we're trying to do that, because that is a problem. Where are we gonna put the garbage? That becomes a problem.
Could I also make a suggestion as part of the downtown revitalization is putting a small allotment aside for our downtown businesses to get trash receptacles, whether they are shared or whatever. That way it's some.
Getting the receptacles, I mean, we can compel them to purchase receptacles. The question is, she's saying they don't have space for it. They don't know where to put them.
Well, no, right, no, that I understand. I'm more saying that kind of what you're saying. Because I have seen them, at least where I know there was the street. I can't try to remember the name of the street.
Bridge
near Tarantellas, that corner. I started seeing these big garbage cans going out on that corner over there. Yeah, it's Bridge. So if there's ways that these businesses can sort of say, hey, look, we're all sharing these X, Y, and Z receptacles. Can you provide us with them? Could that maybe be a workaround?
Public, I literally see my neighbors taking their cans and putting it in the village waste recycling thing, but maybe there'd be something in the middle of the block that could have something decorative around it, so it's not horrible that people could utilize.
Yeah, we had that problem right outside of Big Red Books. There was people were dumping, the tenants were dumping their stuff right there, bags and bags. And I think the building department reached out to the landlord. And I'm not saying that make it painful for you.
I'm just saying the landlords don't have any control over this.
But they could, but they have direct day-to-day contact with the tenants.
Right now, we're using the educational method, knocking on the door, talking to people and explaining the problem.
I think the instruction that you get now from us would be that, because there have been times when we've said, hey, take it easy on people, don't get violations, give them instruction. People who are putting garbage out on the street on days they're not supposed to, that's not the pickup day, they know they're doing something wrong. And we can track the garbage because the garbage often has, envelopes and stuff on it, which have the address of the people.
Yeah.
We could go after the landlords. The problem is the landlords don't have any control over it. They're accountable without being responsible. The tenants are responsible. And, that was my point to you, was just to say that, what's the landlord gonna do? He's gonna, turn off the heat? Once you have a tenant, there's really not much you can do to, force them to comply with the regulations. You just, you have to lump it. So let's start issuing violations. I mean, especially if it's a second offense. Let's start issuing violations, because we dealt with someone, it was down by gentleman's barbershop. Remember, we had somebody for 3 months was putting garbage out in the front of the building. At all times of the day, and and I knew somebody who lived down the block and was complaining to me, and so we were like trying to deal with it. Like, people are doing this and they know they're doing wrong. And it leads to these kinds of problems. And so, that's the first order of business. Before we get to dealing of sterilizing rats or poisoning rats or doing whatever we're doing, we gotta eliminate their food source.
Exactly, but is it illegal to put your trash out in a trash bag on the corner, on the curb?
If you put your trash, it's a violation to put your trash out on a day that's not trash pickup.
Yeah.
If trash pickup is on Monday, people that live on Main Street, they know when the pickups are, and they put their trash out on Friday night, and it sits there basically all weekend while people are trying to go get a dinner, and it doesn't get picked up till Monday.
That's horrible, but in the commercial district that I live in, garbage goes out almost every night.
Yeah, each building has a contract with a private carter,
Yeah.
and they may have a different schedule for their tenants.
Well, then maybe the answer is.
So one thing they've been doing is including verification that every property owner has carting
Right.
contracts.
Right.
When they do their inspections.
Yeah, that's
Fire safety inspection that, they need to check that.
And then he's looking for ways to solve the problem. Like the Turiellos was a huge accomplishment because they had their huge pile in the corner for years and years. And with Manning's work, they figured out a way to put it back on New Street on adjacent properties.
Yeah.
So some of these properties do require kind of a custom negotiated solution to try to force them to find better ways of doing things than putting it out on the street. And then we're seeing more containers on the street, because they have no other choice, and so we've got them parked on Franklin right next to the barber shop all the time. On Bridge Street, there's containers out, you see more on Main Street. I think the old Pizza Bistro site basically has containers out all the time now. So our sidewalk space is getting used by containers, which is
Yep.
better than having bags out there without containers, but now we basically have a container parking problem. So it's a balancing act, it's a multifaceted issue. I will say, I think Manny and his team have been pursuing it by incorporating verification that there's a carting contract, because we had landlords that didn't have contracts. They literally, the tenants did not have a plan, and the tenant downstairs was running a shop that didn't have a private carting contract either. So making sure that those contracts are in place is a really big accomplishment.
And that's now part of your safety,
Yeah, fire safety inspection for the businesses and the multifamily dwelling.
Okay, so they have to have a carter contract.
Correct.
And they have to have a pest control plan.
And best one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have both.
They have to be able to show that they're dealing with their rodent problems by hiring someone to take care of it.
Correct.
Thank you for all of that you're doing, Manny, because I think that's really important. But I do also want to reiterate, I mean, if we can give away recycling bins pretty nominally, I don't see why we couldn't do the same for bigger trash receptacles. I mean, I think that it's gotta be all irons in the fire. I mean, issuing violations, checking, carting contracts is essential. But also, like I said, if we're providing these other ways, it should be a multifaceted approach.
And just to be clear, if you own a building in the downtown, and you have a carting contract, you typically get your container from Carlo.
From them, okay.
It says Menudo on it, it's got your building number on it.
I've seen it, yeah.
It's acceptable from the garbage carter's perspective. It's not really a village kind of place to get in the way of that relationship and start telling people, free container. Like if they're not paying someone to pick it up, then it's a container with no plan.
Wouldn't it?
They have to have a private carter contract to pick up containers.
It's not the village, it's private.
Okay. Jack.
Yes,
Oh, continue, Jack.
I have been trying to attempt this remedy our problem. We have 5 apartments and two businesses. That especially during the holidays, produce a lot, now we recycle heavily. And however, our plan is to put out the plastic bins. However, that's probably around about, could be 4 or 5 bins that are going to be on South Broadway. We have 0 space to put those bins. We have no backyard, and it's just hallway. So this is what you're going to see. This is what NIAC is going to be seeing, are these bins throughout town. However, I understand that. Believe me, I know about the rat problem with it in downtown and the garden, all that. What is this a solution? That's a question.
Is what the solution?
Well, the solution is putting bins out throughout the
I think it's, like I said, I think it's a multifaceted approach. I think between, rat birth control to reduce the population, what Manny's doing to ensure that everyone has a carting contract, making sure that garbage is in receptacles where we can put them in receptacles. I think all of those things with the hope is that it will help reduce the population.
It's also personal responsibility, I think.
Well, no, I totally understand, but I'm just saying is that I just want this is a discussion.
Yeah,
With, and so I would like to see how the village views this. Like from you're gonna be seeing up and down the garbage receptacles on Main Street and Broadway, or any other store that doesn't have a backyard.
Well, that's kind of why I say, like I said, it's multifaceted in the sense of if we can do it, if there are places where we can do it, and that's the solution, like in front of Pisa Bistro or on Bridge Street, then those are the acceptable solutions. If it's better for other places where we're ensuring that they have a carting contract, if it's better for where there are issues that are hotspots, where putting out bait poison or bait birth control or whatever, that's more what I mean. Like, we can. We're going to keep an eye on this situation and all of these things are with the hope that it reduces the population so that we're not, continuing to deal with it or worse. It's not getting worse is more what I mean.
No, I completely understand that, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I see the solution as putting containers on side street. Let's say for you and your other businesses that are on your side, on Bird, there is a business there, but there's an empty wall, no windows, and just like it's done on Bridge Street and Park, to put containers there, but for each apartment building with a lock, so that it's not being used by anybody walking by and they open it up and they throw the junk in there, but it's only specifically for you or for that or your building. Right, this would alleviate the problem of having the containers on South Broadway or on Broadway, for instance. So there is room on Bird Street. If you look at Bird Street on the side, there's room to put some containers there. I mean, that could be a solution. The carting company knows that that's where the containers are, and they collect from there. But lockable.
It's a difficult puzzle, as Jack has articulated. It's a difficult to try to figure out the balance between. I mean, we don't want garbage on the street. We also do not want basically to turn Broadway and Main into a container heaven. And Bird Street sounds good until we actually have somebody come in who lives on Bird Street and says, "You just put
or whose business on Bird
Street. You put a pod in front of you, which is a big." There's everywhere you look. Listen, this is it's a small village and there's a lot of people that live here and generate trash. So this is a puzzle worth trying to solve, but it's become acute. I think the rat thing has become acute. And the
I do like
the issue with the
idea.
All right. Let's put this on as a old business item going forward for the meetings going forward, so we always make sure we're talking about it and getting updates from Manny and from everybody else about what we're doing to resolve this. Is that good?
Mhm.
Anybody have anything else? Any other public comments on this issue? Any public comments on any other issue? Yes, please, come on up.
I'm Donna Hudson.
The one and only.
It's just very upsetting in the garden with the rats all over the place. And I was wondering if you are going to do something about it soon. The town, like, all the solutions, especially the birth control, I think it's a good thing to start right away. And you know, we usually every year we donate food to people and we can't do it anymore this year because of the rat problem. And I think a lot of people suffer because of that. So the sooner things get started with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the best?
The sooner the better.
The sooner the better. Okay. Sooner the better.
Yes, Jeff.
May I, so I'm also part of the garden, and the thing is that Robert Martin is addressing this. Even though he doesn't answer our queries, but talking to Manny and there is action on the part of Robert Martin, who runs that piece of property. So it's gonna take a while. So it's a shame. And I think the past couple of years, we've donated over 2,000 pounds of produce to people, et cetera. And this year, there's nothing.
Be a wall.
That's a sin. That is a sin.
No, we're gonna move on. We're gonna, she's, we've given everybody, I think everybody here has now spoken on this issue. And is there any other public comments on any other issue? We're gonna have it on, it's gonna be on every agenda now until we get a resolution of it as an old business item. So it'll be something that comes up and have to be report and update every meeting we have. Our next meeting is September 10th. By the way, just a reminder, everybody, the next meeting is Wednesday, September 10th. It's not Thursday, September 11th, because we're not doing a meeting. We changed it months ago, but still kept creeping up.
Nothing on 9/11.
We didn't want to do it on 9/11 because we have the 9/11 ceremony, so we didn't want to do it. So it's gonna be Wednesday the 10th. Yeah, it was changed. So we changed it to meeting in the spring.
I was wondering why you kept saying the 10th the whole time.
Yes, I'm sorry. Is it a problem for anybody on the date?
No.
All right, if we're done with public comment, we will have another opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting. We are now, if you're keeping score at home, we are now past item number 3 on the agenda. Item 4, public hearings, there are none. We're up to now item number 5, adoption of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
Any comments or questions on the minutes of July 3rd and July 24th?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. The minutes are hereby adopted. And now Kyle, who's been waiting very patiently for his presentation time. Kyle, tell us about the debt schedule.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a little overview of where we stand, general fund and water fund for our debt currently. So you should have 2 spreadsheets I put together, as well as some charts I made, might make it a little easier to visualize, the spreadsheets. But starting off with the general fund, you'll see I highlighted this fiscal year, so it's very easy to see. We currently have 5 outstanding bonds, and then the new bond we just took out recently here. On the left-hand side, you'll see the bond principal. Just to the right of that, you'll see the interest for all those bonds. And then all the way to the right, you'll see the total that we spent each year with principal and interest together. One thing to note, we will have one more bond that we need to take out this year, that you guys already you already approved in the past for a swap loader. You'll see currently for this year, we're a little lower than what we have been in the past 5 years in terms of total spending. But once that swap loader's in it, definitely next year, will definitely be higher than what we've been recently doing. One else thing to note here is in 2029, 3 of our bonds are ending. So after 2029, we'll have a lot more relief in our bond expenses.
A lot more relief.
Yes, we won't be paying as much in our bond, yes.
Reduce it.